Like I had started with this live. The only thing I said was I appreciate all the knowledge that you have. I wish I had the knowledge that you had when I was that young. I was ignorant. I was very, very ignorant. I'm here to just talk. I don't want to debate. It's just I want to be the one gleaming light of someone who's not an asshole in your life.
Maybe this would be my advice. I see good in you. Yes, I understand that. I will absolutely give that to you. Most people who come up on here, right, don't recognize that it's important to listen to both sides. So maybe if I could just leave you with one thing, I think that your vote in November is harmful because it doesn't really sound like you know why you're voting for one candidate over the other, and it just so happens to be that the candidate that you're voting for serves as a threat to the American people, a threat to America in of itself as in our democracy, and will further perpetuate marginalization against already marginalized communities. So please get educated on this.
Yeah,
look up economic policy, try to justify what you believe in, and then when you ultimately can, I hope you cast your vote for Kamala. But is there anything else that you want to go over here before I move on to my next guest?
No, absolutely. I hope you have a nice day. It was nice talking to you, and I hope everyone just makes educated decisions. That's all.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you for coming up, KK.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to our next guest here, y'all. If you guys are in the live, y'all, and you want to come up and debate, let me just see a MAGA in chat, y'all. We're going to move on to our next guest here. Also, if you want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds over those platforms. But yeah, at this point, we're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. So everyone just give us a minute to get him up in here, y'all. Everyone just be patient, y'all. Let's go and see what our next guest has to say. Let's go to get Grace up in the live. What's going on, everyone? Let's also try to hit 1 million likes. Make sure that we're double tapping away. Double tap it away. All right, we got our next guest loading in. Next guest loading in, y'all. Y'all already know. Moving on. All right, here we go. Hey, also Sarah, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. That's very kind of you. And Sharon, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Sharon says, keep pushing through. I appreciate you for the love, Sharon. Chat, please, let's show some love to Sharon. What's up, that boy Sip? How old are you?
Man, I'm 34.
34, are you voting for Trump?
Hell yeah.
Can you name one policy that he influenced to get passed while he was president?
No, but are you voting for or against a president?
Well, I'm predominantly voting against.
Why are you voting against?
Why am I voting against? Because Trump serves as a threat through democracy. He's a literal rapist, a literal felon. He tried to convince tens of millions of American citizens that the 2020 election was stolen from him just because he was a narcissist and he was baby raging because he lost. He tried to incite an insurrection upon our capital, told his VP not to certify the results of the election, and his VP as well as 34 other cabinet members ended up turning against him because he specifically wanted them to put him above the U.S. Constitution. He sent fake electorates to states to cast false votes in the Electoral College.
All right,
he shifted the American focus.
You lost me at narcissist. This isn't the place for me.
Okay, he left. We're going to move on to our next guest. Everyone just give us a minute here. Give us a minute. We're going to get our next guest up in the box, y'all. If you want to come up, just let me see a couple of those MAGAs in the chat. Y'all already know, guys. Y'all already know we're going to go get our next guest up in here, y'all. Everyone just do be patient while we load in our next guest. Let's go to get Doug Charles up in the live. He left. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Colin, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some massive W Collins in that chat. Thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo, man. That's so incredibly kind of you. Kamala 2024, all the way every day, baby. What's up, Brandon? How old are you?
I'm 31.
Are you voting for Diaper Don?
I'm voting for Trump.
Okay, why?
The reason is when he was in his presidency, took no money from the people, right? The $400,000 a month, or not a month, a year that you were supposed to get. He's giving back to the people by saying, I'm not going to take that, right? And then he's also changed policies that help the American people, like NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. We were getting screwed in that policy, and he changed it so I don't know if you know what NAFTA is, but basically we were exporting the countries and being like, yep, it's free, like to Mexico and to Canada, but they were like, they weren't affected like we were, because they would export to us and we'd have to pay an export tax. So
yeah, Joe, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some massive W Joes in that chat. Thank you so much. Massive W Joes. Thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, so there's that, and then I mean he got shot too. So
Okay, and he was shot. Yeah. So hey, now, so like first of all, when we're talking about replacing NAFTA with the USMCA, right? I just don't really see why we'd have any reason to believe that this wouldn't have happened if he wasn't president. Right? I think that this was bound to happen, especially during that time, as it's like a multi-international trade agreement, and there's pressure from other countries apart from the U.S. to do so. Right. And of course, I'd say it would probably been more likely to occur under another presidency because historically speaking, Trump doesn't support trade agreements. And then like the TPP, for instance. Real quick, thank you so much for the $25 on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love. That is ISAI. Isai. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. WISAI in the chat. I really butchered your name there, and I'm really sorry. But thank you so much for the $20 on PayPal. I'm so sorry for butchering your name there, but thank you so much for the love. So yeah, like I said, I don't think we'd see any reason why any other president would have done that same thing. Then additionally here, when you're referencing like the first point you made, can you repeat that? I just wasn't following.
So Trump being in, well, actually I'm kind of blanking. But so what I was gonna say with the whole NAFTA thing, you have like as much as he's our president, like you have Biden, where what has he done in his entire career, right? You've had 50 years, and cool, he was the vice president.
Okay, well, first of all, Biden is not running for president. Kamala is.
No, I know. I'm just saying. So I'm trying to get to Kamala. So you've had,
Kamala.
Yes. But so I'm just saying that he didn't do really anything notable in his career. And then she was the vice president, and now she's running for presidency.
So the Biden-Harris administration passed some of the most like monumental legislation in modern U.S. history, with like the Chips and Science Act to bring chip manufacturing back home here in America, the PACT Act that invested $800 million within our VA healthcare like system, the Infrastructure Bill, $1 trillion invested in American infrastructure, Inflation Reduction Act investing millions of dollars in renewable energy resources to reduce inflation long term. Yeah, these things are huge, man.
So you're saying that within the past 10 years that Kamala Harris, I keep butchering her name, I'm sorry. But so you're saying, so she was a part of that entire thing, and she ran, or now she's running, and she is like, yes, this is like, if you look at her yearbook, it's gonna show, oh, she did this, she did that, or is it?
Do you listen to Trump and Vance? Do you listen to those two?
I've seen like.
Yeah, they said that Biden's track record is Harris's track record. So if you trust JD Vance, we should like blame all of these monumental pieces of legislation on Kamala as well. But something else here. Would you vote for someone that's held civilly liable for grape?
No, probably not. But also,
so Trump was held civilly liable for grape. So you wouldn't vote for him?
So, well, I'm just saying. So, okay, maybe he's civilly liable for that, right?
But you just said you wouldn't vote for someone that was held civilly liable for grape.
No, I didn't. I didn't specifically say that. What I'm saying.
Yes, you did. You said probably not. So would you or would you not vote for someone that was held civilly liable for grape?
Probably is that an absolute?
It is not an absolute.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is.
So give me an answer. Would you vote for someone that's held civilly liable for grape?
Outweigh the good. So I'm personally in the military, right? And 18 months because Trump showed the freaking like the house of the leader of the Taliban. 18 months, not one troop died. What the fuck has Biden done? Sorry,
we had 65 troops die under Trump's presidency. We have 13 died under Biden's. Not to mention that Biden is the first president in 20 years to not have active military. Have you Hey, Brandon, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So Biden is the first president in the last 20 years to not have active boots on the ground fighting in wars. Biden's also introduced one of the most monumental pieces of legislation for our veterans with the PACT Act. And then additionally here, he's given one of the biggest pay raises to the military in the last 25 years. Like, I don't think that you're going to be able to give me an argument that the Biden-Harris administration was bad for our military.
Oh, no, yeah. So just so you know, right, boots on the ground, we still have boots on the ground in Iraq. So
where?
In Iraq, in Baghdad,
fighting wars,
in freaking what is it?
So where are they actively fighting wars?
They're actively in the country. That's boots on the ground. That's what that is.
Where particularly within Iraq do we have boots on the ground?
I literally said Baghdad, Taji, Erbil.
Could you give me a source on that?
I can look it up real quick and give you a valid source. We actually have people that are military members that are in Iraq. Yeah, maybe they're not getting shot at or bombed or mortared, but we actually have active people in Iraq. For Afghanistan, yes, we pulled out of the country. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it's not an active war. Like what I'm particularly referenced here is within an active war. Like we will always have boots on the ground insofar as like the particular like American embassies that we have in other countries.
Yeah, no,
I'm referencing active war.
No, yeah. So okay, well, it's not an active war, but it's an active war. Israel, you know how much? Like if I pulled the numbers of how much money taxpayers have sent in support of Israel, and I agree with Trump in the sense that he says, like I saw it was an interview and
he's the most pro-Israel president ever. Those are words out of his own mouth.
But he also said, yeah, because I agree. He is the most pro-Israel president American.
Tabitha, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love, Tabitha. Thank you so much for the love. Massive W, W Tabitha for the $10.
No.
Also, I don't understand. So you're saying that we're sending money to Israel? Yeah, we should be sending less money to Israel.
No,
there should be a ceasefire. I don't support any funding for Israel.
Yes, but
and the individual
also,
that's closer to that than not is going to be Kamala. She's not perfect, but she's better than Trump in this regard.
I understand, but what I'm saying, right? So I saw this interview. And like the interviewer it was like crazy how it was like an attack because he said something and then eventually he was like, I just don't want people to die. I don't care if they're American, if they like, I just don't want anyone to die. And so I'll support you by saying he is the most pro-Israel president ever just because he doesn't want people to die, which I don't want people to die. You know what I mean?
No, he literally said that he wants Israel to finish the job, finish what they started, kill more Palestinians. Israel themselves has came out and said that there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian. You're all over the place, Brandon.
No, I'm just, okay, maybe he said that, right? Could be twisted. Literally, I saw an interview where he was in a very hot place, right? Like, it was.
He was talking about people, dude, okay. Yeah.
I'm
Brandon,
just saying.
You're not getting at any point here.
I'm saying I support.
It wasn't twisted.
I support Trump. I'm so happy that Biden is not going to get reelected just because I hate the "Let's go Brandon" phrase because my name is Brandon.
Okay, dude, what does any of this have to do with our conversation while you're voting for Trump over Kamala? Let me ask you a question. I don't think people are finding our conversation here interesting because you're all over the place. And like even I'm like getting lost in this conversation, Brandon. So we're gonna try out like one more point. Oh, also, yeah, it's your name, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. That's funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah. So how do you feel about the fact that like when Trump lost 2020, he baby raged, then convinced tens of millions of American citizens that the election was sufficiently rigged to be overthrown, instilling virtues of distrust in our civil electoral processes. He also outright denied the outcomes of the election, tried to tell his VP not to certify the results of said election. Then his VP went on record saying that Trump wanted him to put him above the Constitution. He also sent fake electorates to states to cast false votes to the Electoral College, and he inspired an insurrection upon our Capitol, posing a threat to our democracy.
Okay, so I'm not going to say that the election was rigged or not rigged. I don't know, right? I'm just a guy.
We do know. 60 courts ruled that it wasn't rigged, including 17
They
courts
also said that aliens aren't real, but I mean, they said aliens are real now, and I said
they don't say that aliens are real. That's false.
No, they actually said that they're.
No, the Pentagon came out with saying that there's these UFOs, but that doesn't necessitate like otherworldly life. These could obviously be like fucking things from other countries. You're grasping for straws here. So are you saying that our criminal justice system is not reliable because they said aliens aren't real?
Wait, what? How is it the criminal justice system? But no, what I'm saying with aliens is...
How is it the criminal justice system? Because Trump took his court case that there was election fraud and was sufficiently rigged to be thrown to 60 criminal courts with 60 judges ruling against him.
No, I'm not talking about illegal immigrants. I'm talking about aliens in general, like outside of the Earth.
I knew that you were talking about actual aliens. I'm not talking about illegal immigrants. Yeah, sorry, okay. I'm talking to migrants.
No, I got you. But yeah, no, so like... I'm telling you, I don't know. Was it rigged? Was it not? Yeah, there's probably statistics of could have been, could have not.
No, it was literally not. There's no sufficient evidence to suggest that it was rigged. And then
Yes.
60 courts, including 17 courts with judges that Trump appointed, said that he had no evidence for the shit that was spewing out of his mouth.
Yes, but then also
60, the ruling of 60 courts is unreliable to you.
no,
Really?
it's not. I'm not saying it's unreal. I'm saying I don't have a. I'm not gonna say it's rigged or it's not rigged. What I'm saying is
What is Jeffrey Dahmer a serial killer?
every single year.
Is
right?
Jeffrey Dahmer a serial? Is Jeffrey Dahmer a serial killer?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Why?
I don't know, because Netflix told me. But
Because one court ruled so. So
Yeah.
one court is enough to say that it's certainly true that Jeffrey Dahmer was a serial killer, but 60 courts, is it enough courts to say it's certainly true that the 2020 election wasn't stolen? Really?
no, yeah. But so what I'm saying is, so like say it's rigged. Okay, cool, whatever, right? Like it was rigged. But if you think
What evidence do we have to assume that it was rigged?
every single, well, I'm not assuming it was rigged. I'm saying I'm in the middle. I don't care if it was.
Bro, we're just moving on to our next guest. I can't stand that shit. There's no conversation to be had with people that just aren't truth oriented. Like, there's seriously zero conversation to be had with people that aren't truth oriented. What's up? How old are you? Are you here?
I did not mean to join. Sorry about that.
No worries. Guys, we're in the chat and we're voting for Trump. Make sure to let me know. We're going to go and pull up our next guest here, y'all. There's literally just no conversation to be had with people that aren't truth oriented. You know, it's like when we are having a conversation here, and he can't even say if the election was or wasn't rigged off of all the information that I provided. We're just not going to get anywhere. You know what I mean? When everything is a probably or a maybe and there's just no progression to be had, right? He's not holding to any conclusions. There's just no progress for the conversation. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Make sure we are in the chat that we are specifically voting for Trump, y'all. And if you do want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio, y'all. Y'all already know. We're going to move on to our next guest here, guys. If you do want to come up and debate, just let me know in that chat. Moving on. We could also try to go over to the third account, see if we're able to get more people up in the live, y'all. We might actually try that soon. What's up, Crown? How old are you?
Hey, what's going on? I'm 32.
32, awesome. You voting for Trump?
Actually, kind of, no, but I would think Trump is a better,
All right, well, I appreciate you. I'm just specifically looking to talk to people that are voting for Trump, but I do appreciate you for coming up in here. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Everyone just do be patient. What's up, Ian? How old are you?
Oh, is that me?
It is you.
We are here. Okay, hold on a second. I'm literally on inline skates, so I'm going to stop so I don't get killed or get banned here. Hold on a second.
Are you voting for Trump?
Well, I have a debate about Israel for you. I agree with you on most of the things that you're saying, but I would like to just...
Get back to skating, little bro. Appreciate you for coming up, though. I'm just looking to talk to people that are voting for Trump. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Have fun on those inlines. If we are in the chat, if we are in the request, make sure that we are specifically voting for Trump. What's up? How old are you? All right. No one's joining up. Guys, if you're MAGA, just let me know in the chat. I'm just going to start pulling up from the queue, y'all. From the chat, sorry. We got our next guest loading in, y'all. Everyone just be patient. Bear with us. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Kay, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love, man. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. We're still just looking for a debate. Hey, what's up, John? How old are you? Okay, John just ultimately left there. Thank you for the sunglasses. I appreciate you for the love. Still just looking for a debate. Still just looking for people for a debate here. Dean, you can clear the box. There's not an easy way to do it. I wish I could. All right, moving on, guys. Moving on. If you're MAGA, just let me know in that chat. Rebecca asked if I played Roblox. I sure did. We're still looking for a debate. This is really rough, guys. Sheesh. This sucks. Savannah, thank you for the rose. We're still, dude, I'm just gonna, I'm literally loading in, everybody from the guest requests. I'm clicking accept on everybody. Guys, if you're MAGA and you're in the queue, just let me know in the chat. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna start loading y'all up from the chat. Literally. What's up, Gordon? How old are you?
I'm 53.
Are you voting for Trump?
Yeah, I'm voting for Trump, sure. Hell yeah.
Okay, you have a bit of background noise. I'm sorry, bro. What's up, Boop? How old are you?
I'm 39.
Are you voting for Trump?
Of course.
Okay, why so?
Well, I know you always downplay everything he did, and you say, oh, it's because of this or that or whatnot. But the facts are that unemployment was extremely low. The economy was extremely high. One other thing you do mention a lot, this whole oil permit thing. You're right, but you're mostly wrong about that. It's kind of like only seeing what the top of the iceberg. So Trump, he leased out a lot of land, way more than Biden does. So it's kind of like that has to happen before permits are created. And right now, Biden he's leasing the minimum amount of land that he has to. So really what you're seeing with Biden, with all the oil and all that, that really is because of the Trump presidency. And if we get another Democrat, like in the next 4 years, you're going to see a big drop in these permits because the land isn't being leased as large amounts as it was before. So I don't really think you can use that, even though you're right. Can you give me like a source for like this idea that the Biden-Harris administration is like leasing like a very small amount of land for drilling? Yes, you're gonna obviously. This is not what I do for a living, so you're gonna have to give me a second to find that. Do you want me to do that right now, or do you want to talk more, or what? I mean, it's up to you, man. I mean, I have other questions too. Like you just said, you're voting for Trump because the economy was better. How did Trump make the economy better, or how did the Biden-Harris administration make the economy worse? Okay, so I'm not saying she made anything worse. Okay, I'm not saying that. But how did he make it better? I know you don't like that tax plan again, but they did a study. If you ask me for a source, I'm gonna have to find it for you again. But they did a study, and Americans, middle class Americans, made $6,000 more a year than they did under the presidency before Trump. So I mean, as you can see, if Americans are making more money than they had before in a long time, as well as having way cheaper food, way cheaper. We're still under Trump's tax code. So if you're saying that the reason his economy was better than Biden's was because of his tax plan, well, we're still under his tax plan. Right. I'm not. What explains the bad economy from the Biden-Harris administration? So I don't know if you heard me, but I said I was not dogging on her economy. I don't know if you heard me when you asked me that before. Well, you said that the economy was better under Trump's presidency than Biden and Harris's presidency. No. That's why you're voting for him. Okay, so let me specify, because I can see why you're seeing that. So I'm not dogging on the inflation being 100% her issues. What I am saying is that the tax plan that Trump created, even though you're right, it helped the rich much more, but that's just a philosophy of conservatives. If you want to fight that, that's a whole nother battle. Okay, that's what we believe. So the reason I don't like his tax plan is because 83% of those tax cuts went to the top 1%, and it footed a bill of $1.9 trillion in debt-related spending on the American taxpayer, and it only led to an average annual GDP increase of 0.02%. Like spending $2 trillion for a 0.02% increase in our GDP annually is just bonkers. Right. And like, I think that at its core, the tax policy for the middle class was all right. I just think that it was ultimately a bad policy because of how much of the tax breaks it sent to the top 1%. If we increase taxes on people making over $400,000 a year, we could even further increase the deductions for like child tax credits and decrease the amount of debt-related spending of the tax policy, which no longer makes it serve as a detriment to the middle class. But I do want to go back. Like the first thing that you said was the economy was better under Trump than it was under Biden. And that's why you're voting for Trump over Biden. Is that not what you said? Okay, so I might have said that. What I mean, though, is that Americans were wealthier because of the tax plan at the same time. But Americans were wealthier because of the tax plan. So you're saying that they're wealthier under Trump's presidency than Biden's presidency because of Trump's tax plan. But that can't be the case because his tax plan is just as in effect today as it was when he introduced it. Like, you can't, like, dream up a comparative analysis. Like, it didn't end when he left office. It's still in effect. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you here. All I'm trying to say is he helped Americans make more money at the same time where everything wasn't going to dog shit.
So yes,
I literally already explained. No, it did not help make Americans make more money. We have like normative evaluations from the Tax Policy Center that would indicate over the 10-year lifespan of the bill, it'll actually decrease the after-tax income for the middle class while increasing it for the top 1%. Then also, even if it did help the middle class make more money, why should we be spending $2 trillion for an average annual GDP increase of 0.02%? Right, increasing the deficit twice as much as Biden for a 0.2% increase in the GDP. It's craziness.
There's been different studies on how well that his tax plan is going to do over 10 years. You can look this up. There's literally like hundreds of experts that all put this all together. So I'm sure what you're citing is correct, but it's you know what I'm saying, man. It's like you find the right economist to make your point.
So the idea that it's only leading to an average annual GDP increase of 0.02% is coming from conservative as well as liberal economists from Harvard, right? Bipartisan.
Okay, so I mean, if you're correct there, and it's really not going to be at all helpful, then I guess you're right, man. But from what the people that I've talked to, there's a lot of debates on how helpful his tax plan is going to be. And all I was trying to tell you was that that plan did create more money for middle class individuals, more so than the Obama presidency.
And I'm telling you how the Biden-Harris administration, particularly Harris now, wants to make it better by not giving 83% of those tax cuts to the top 1%. So it costs the American taxpayer less in debt-related spending. And we don't see further perpetuation of trickle-down economics, meaning people's wages don't increase with a product and with an increase in productivity, alongside the fact that spending $2 trillion for a 0.02% increase is insane.
Okay, so what you're saying sounds good. It sounds great. But
Jennifer, thank you so much for the $20 and the 25 cents on Venmo. I really appreciate you for the love. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Let's get a W, Jennifer, in that chat. Thank you so much for the $20 and the 25 cents. Thank you so much. You're not responding to a single thing I'm saying, Boop. I just want to make that very known.
What have I not responded to?
You've not responded to the fact that this costs the American taxpayer $2 trillion. Is spending $2 trillion, right, a good thing to do for a rate of return of 0.02% of our GDP?
Okay, so I did respond to you, and I said that if you're completely correct, and that's really the end goal, and that's what's going to happen, then you're probably right. At the end of the day, that wasn't worth it.
That's not what's going to happen in 10 years. That's what's already happened. It is averaged an annual.
But again, I've heard other economists that disagree with you.
Okay, so give me a source from another economist that would disagree with this.
You're telling me that I can't easily Google an economist that's going to say that the Trump plan works. You're saying that that's...
Give me a normative evaluation that would state that the Trump tax code has led to a greater average annual GDP increase in 0.02%.
All right, man. Well, I mean, that's hard for me to do on the spot, right? That's like me trying...
Well, I mean, then you're just saying words. Jacqueline, thank you for the galaxy. It's good to see you, Jacqueline.
All my words were, though, man, was that Americans made $6,000 more a year. That is objectively the truth. Now,
you already agreed with me that the average annual GDP increase of 0.02% would not be worth it for $2 trillion on the American taxpayer. And then you just said, oh, well, there's probably other economists out there that disagree. You can't name an economist that would disagree. You can't give me a study that would...
Okay, so I'm a healthcare provider. Okay, I spend 8 hours a day, 5 days...
Hey, sir, either give me a study, give me a study, or like I'm going to move on. Like, cause I'm really sick. When I make
no,
a
it's
good point,
fine, but you're gonna be hanging up on everybody if you're gonna hang up on me that easily. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, the particular reason why I'm gonna hang up on you this easy is because you are giving me a reason why you're voting for Trump, that being his tax code. Then I'm like, well, his tax code's actually bad, and here's why. And then you're like, Dean, if you were right, it would be bad, and this wouldn't give me a good reason to vote for Trump. But instead of just conceding there, your response is, there might be some economists out there that disagrees with you. I don't know though. So therefore, this is still a good reason for me to...
Well, I mean, you're kind of summing up what I'm saying, but you're doing it in the most negative way possible. What I'm actually telling you is that I have seen this and I've read this before. And if you want, I can go ahead and... Let me go ahead and look up the permit thing first, just so that you don't think I'm completely full of shit. But what you're basically asking me is to be a professional with all these resources.
No, I'm just asking you to justify your claims. All right, chat. We're gonna go ahead and head over to my third account here, y'all. I'm just asking him to justify his claims, bro. Yeah, can y'all put a @hi I'm Dean in the chat? We're actually gonna be rating ourselves on one of my other accounts. We're gonna be seeing my algorithm on another account. It would be working better than the algorithm on here. So put @hi I am Dean in that chat. Head and just raid that account. We're gonna try a live out over there. See if the algorithm is better. because this is my second account, and I know that the third account has actually been a bit nicer to me. It's just hi, I'm Dean. Still waiting. It's not hi, I am. It's just hi, I'm Dean. Hi, I'm awesome. There we go. All right, awesome. So everyone in here, all 5,000 of you guys. So I'm gonna continue our debate. So we've only been live for 2 hours. I'm gonna stream for about 6 hours today. So we have another 4 hours left. But I'm gonna continue the debates on this account. So when I end this live, it'll say like, oh, the creator ended this live. All I want you to do is I want you to go to your TikTok search bar. I want you to type in hi, I'm Dean. And I'm going to be on there running the same debate. So let's see if we could get everyone to come over there. All right, we're going to have a lot of fun. We've had some great conversations today. And when we do get in there, spam the chat, spam the likes, spam the shares. Y'all already know. But yeah, I'll see all 5,000 of you, all 5,000 of you guys over there very shortly. I love you all. See you guys. What is up, Callie, Mercy, EDM, TTM? What is going on, Bean? Welcome in, y'all. Everybody tuning into the stream. It is so good to see you all. Guys, make sure that we are spamming those likes. Make sure that we are spamming those shares. Make sure that we are spamming that comment section, and we are going to go ahead and hop right back into the debates. So for everybody in here, if you are voting for Trump, let me see a MAGA in that chat, right? And I'm just going to go ahead and start accepting up our guests. Right away. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. E-Graces, thank you for the money gun. As a guest here, so y'all, everyone just do give us a minute while we are doing that. And then we're just going to go ahead and hop right back into the debates. Why can't I mute that account? Awesome. Here we go. Alrighty, without further ado, we're going to go to get our first guest, Billy, up in here, y'all. So, yep. All right, make sure that we're double tapping away. What's up, Billy? How old are you, man?
25.
Are you driving?
Nope.
I disagree. You are driving. Thank you. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. If you're MAGA, let me know in the chat. If you're voting for Dapey Dan, let me know in the chat. We're going to bring up our next guest. If you're in the queue, make sure you're voting for Trump. Make sure you're voting for Dapey Dan. He was just lying. What's up? Hey, how old are you?
Oh, I am old. I requested for an accident. I was double tapping. I am so sorry and no idea how to drive.
No worries. We're going to move on to our next guest here, y'all. We are just going to go to get our next guest. Let's go to get Cole up in the live, y'all. Alrighty. Yeah, 78's too old. Yeah, this guy is old. He's old. Look at this old man. All right, moving on to our next guest here, guys. We're still just looking for our next guest here. Let's go to get Michelle up in the live. Michelle, I sent you an invite. I saw you spam MAGA in that chat. All right, moving on to our next guest, guys. Everyone do just give us a minute for the 2,000 people in here. Make sure that we're double tapping away on that phone screen, y'all. While we get our next guest, Preston Sans up in the live, y'all. All right, here we go. What's up, Preston? How old are you?
23.
Are you voting for Dapey Dan?
I am voting for Donald Trump.
Okay, why do you want to grape us in the White House?
Well, when it comes to the grapist case and the rapist case, I feel like if there was enough evidence, if there was enough to back it up, you wouldn't even have a chance to run for president.
Yeah, that's false. No, so there was enough evidence to back it up. The jury found him guilty. That's the truth, and he's still running for president.
See, look, I feel like if I knew 100% sure that Trump was a racist or sex offender, assaulted a female, I would definitely not vote for him. I would probably.
So he was held guilty by a jury of his peers, 7 men, 2 women. Thank you, Jacqueline, so much for the money gun. Right, this occurred in 2022. He was held civilly liable for the rape of E. Jean Carroll, and that's a fact, sir.
Okay, so how did he get out of it? Like, how did
he didn't get out of it. He was held guilty. He didn't get out of it.
Serve any time for anything sexually assaulted.
Yo, Caden, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo. They say Kamala, absolutely. W Kamala in that chat. Thank you so much for the $15, Caden. Let's get some W Cadens. He didn't serve any time because he was held civilly liable. He wasn't criminally convicted. Only criminal courts could send people to jail.
Okay, well that's dumb. I feel like if someone was sexually assaulted and there was proof and he was tried by a jury and accused of it, I feel like no matter what, that should be jail time.
I know, I agree with you, but that's just not the way like our current criminal justice system works. I agree it needs reform, right? Because they should have still been able to persecute him, like criminally speaking. But New York State law had a statute of limitations for pursuing criminal charges, absolutely. But this doesn't change the fact that he's a rapist.
Okay, well, when I do my research between politics and everything, I feel like there's a lot of political warfare. There's a lot of media warfare, and it's hard to believe things from the Democratic side and the Republican side.
Well, I mean, this isn't from the Democratic side or the Republican side. This is from a court.
You're right, but I feel like it's used as political warfare.
Okay, well, I mean, how do you know that? Can you give me absolutely any reason to believe that this was being used as political warfare? Or are you just saying that to invalidating the experiences of a victim because you don't know shit about the case? I mean, do you even know her name?
No, I've been on your live for 2 hours and I still haven't.
You don't know her name. You don't know one piece of evidence submitted in the court. You didn't even know about the court case until I brought it up, but you do know it was political warfare. It just sounds like you're engaging in fringe conspiracy theory and contorting reality to deny the experiences of a woman who didn't just accuse a man of raping her, but then proved it in court because you don't want to feel like a POS when you ultimately vote for him in November.
Can I ask a question?
Are you driving?
No.
I hear you driving, bro. Venus, thank you for the money again. Go ahead, Preston.
Sorry. So the reason why I'm voting for Trump, I voted for Trump in 2018. That was more
He didn't run in 2018.
Whatever. His
First a federal election in 2018.
My bad. But the reason why I'm voting for Trump is because I'm in the military, and I do believe that he is pro-military. And a big reason versus Harris and Trump is I don't think Harris is going to be respected as a world leader. So I don't think.
So just to clarify here, Harris has a higher approval rating here at home in America than Trump has an approval rating worldwide.
Okay, but Trump went into Korea. He's met with Putin. He's met with the.
Wait, actually, no. Harris has a higher worldwide approval rating than Trump has here at home in America.
It's just hard to believe because, like, he went to Korea, North Korea. He went to China. He went to Russia. He's met with all the world leaders. He obviously has.
Jackson, thank you so much for the money gun.
He obviously has respect for the world leaders, or he wouldn't be able to step a foot in North Korea, because. So right now,
I'm literally telling you that like Biden Harris has a higher favorability rating worldwide than Trump has here at home in America. You can't make the argument that she wouldn't be respected on the world stage when more people respect her on the world stage than people at home here in America respect Trump.
I'm stationed in South Korea right now, so I'm about 30 miles away from the North Korea border, and a big reason why I would vote for Trump is because I would feel more safe while I'm stationed.
Sunshine, thank you for the corgi. Yeah, but you don't have any facts to justify that, only your feelings. I care about facts.
Okay, facts are a big point, but feelings also comes in when you're picking a political opponent to vote.
No, because you can't just say some like BS, right? Like, oh, I'd feel more safe, but I actually don't have any reason, right, why I should feel this way, and then expect me to buy it. Like, okay, I'd feel more safe voting Kamala. Does that give me just as good of reason to vote blue as you have reason to vote red?
Well, no matter what people vote for, it doesn't really affect me. My vote is my vote, and that's how I go about it. And then another reason why I would vote for Trump, right? So you always say 65 died under Trump's term, and then 13's only died under Joe Biden's term. But why couldn't Joe Biden just accept the fact that the 12 service members died, 45 wounded, and then the civilians left behind in the Afghan pullout?
What do you mean? He gave a full speech on them, said their names.
So in the presidential debate, he said that no troops has died under his term, and that was just a big face to all of those families that lost somebody.
Yeah, there was one of the lies that he told during his performance at the debate. However, Trump told more lies during the debate. And also, Biden's not running.
Okay, still, but Kamala.
No, still what? When did Kamala say that?
I can't say her first name, so I'm just going to say Harris. So Harris and Biden are in the same administration.
No, but you can't blame like something that like Biden said on Harris, right? Like maybe if it's reflected within like legislation, of course you could. But like, do we want to blame what was it, JD Vance saying that like Trump was America's Hitler on Trump? Like, do you think that Trump thinks that he's America's Hitler because JD Vance said so?
If somebody like JD Vance hated Trump so much, why is he endorsing him now? Like, why is he...
For like his own personal political gain. But answer my question. So because JD Vance said that Trump was America's Hitler, does that mean Trump thinks he's America's Hitler?
Does Trump think he's America's Hitler? I wouldn't think so, no.
Okay, so just because the VP says something, it doesn't mean the president has to think it as well. So when like Biden lied and said that nobody died under his presidency, this doesn't reflect on Kamala.
Okay, good point. I like that. I'll respect your point. That's valid. But
do you have kids?
Do I have kids? I have a 4-month-old daughter. Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, so JD Vance thinks that your vote should matter more than individuals that don't have kids. Do you agree with him?
No, I think everyone's vote matters, no matter if they have kids or not.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what the JD Vance, he said that, like, people that have kids, their vote should matter more than people who don't.
Okay, and that's an argument to point how?
Who knows? He's crazy.
But JD Vance, I also have respect.
Wait, also, are you racist? Do you hate Mexicans?
Do I hate Mexicans? No. I was born and raised in Texas.
Well, then just to clarify here, give me 1 second to pull it up. I don't think that you're going to be a part of JD Vance's target demographic. Let me go ahead and get one of his political ads up.
Okay, well, while you're pulling that up, another reason why I respect JD Vance is he did serve in the military, and I think there's so much.
Wait, just listen to this. This is the start of one of his political ads.
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans?
So, like, maybe you're not a part of his target demographic here.
Okay, but JD Vance, he does deserve respect because he served in the military. And
no, he absolutely doesn't. He thinks that IVF is bad. He doesn't think that like individuals should be able to have children through such means. He also thinks that like individuals with kids, their vote should matter more than not. He thinks that abortion should be federally illegal. He doesn't even like uphold like rape protections. He also fucked a couch. So I don't know about that one.
Okay, but civilians are so blind to like the military side of the world, like how much people actually sacrifice for the military.
But the Biden-Harris administration wasn't. They introduced one of the largest pay increases in the last 20 years. He's the first active president. He's the first president with no active boots on the ground fighting in wars, right? He signed the PACT Act into effect, which was one of the most monumental legislation pieces for the military and for veterans in modern U.S. history, investing $800 million into expanding VA healthcare benefits, introducing healthcare to 1 million new veterans.
Okay, so I would like to
for the military.
The 5% pay raise, right? So the pay raise, no one really knows the facts behind the pay raise. So the pay raise, so when they're the NDAA.
I'm so sorry, Jennifer. Thank you so much for the $20 and the 25 cents on Venmo for 2025. Thank you so much for the love. Let's get some W Jennifers in that chat. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Let's get some massive W Jennifers, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for that love. It means the world. W Jennifer, thank you so much. And Bean, thank you for the money gun.
So the point clear about the 5% interest rate, right? So I'm not sure, but I think it was the NDAA is the one who started bringing up like the pay raise and stuff and the policies for it. But they
I'm sorry, Preston. I just want to move on to my next guest. Guys, if you're MAGA, just let me know in the chat. We're going to go and load up our next guest. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible, terrible person. I'm a terrible, terrible, terrible person. Truly. We're going to go to move on to our next guest. Hey, what's up? How do you do things?
We're going to go and move on to our next guest. Hey, what's up?
Holy shit, that was the worst echo I've ever heard. We're going to go to move on to our next guest. Let's go to see what our next guest has to say, y'all. Moving on here. Moving on. Let's go to see what our next guest has to say. No way, there's people saying in the chat that he's being me. That's crazy. We're going to go to move on, guys. We're just still trying to get our next debate going here. If you're MAGA, let me know in that chat. Dean, that one was a little bit rude. I know. I said I'm a terrible person. My apologies, y'all. We're going to go to move on to our next guest. Let's go to get MAGA up in the live. What a crazy name. Moving on here. We're still trying to get our next debate going. What's up, MAGA? How old are you? Make America great again. Are you here? No. What's up, Charlize? Hey, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Are you voting for Trump?
Yes, I am.
Quick question. So Trump has just absolutely disregarded the thoughts, wants, needs, opinions of women and girls in his history. He's just like sexualized little girls. He's raped a woman and just straight up disrespected them. So how do you expect him to effectively account for your thoughts, wants, needs, and desires legislating in of the Oval Office?
Did you say sexualized little girls?
Yeah, he said he's going to date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Well, I don't see like how like if he's actually raped woman, like how is he not like in jail, or like how has that not come like fully closed out?
So the reason he's not in jail is because he wasn't persecuted in a criminal court because the statute of limitations had passed. He's held civilly liable for it in a civil court of law. And civil courts can't send people to jail.
Okay, well, I'm voting for Trump mostly because he's no tax on tips, and my job is mainly just working for tips, so that's a big reason why I'm voting for Trump. And then also I'm voting for Trump based on the economy wise as well. I know like after COVID, like things kind of went horrible, and that's, you can't really like.
How did the Biden-Harris administration cause the economy to go bad?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like the things like, would you explain to me like the things that they have done to try to like bring that back up? Like bring that.
I mean, yeah, sure. So like, first of all, the reason the economy went to shit wasn't because of their administration. It was because of the pandemic. And like, we could go through the specific policy that they passed to, you know, help stimulate the economy and bring it back up to where it was. But I feel like more so we could just point out the fact that the U.S. has had the quickest global rebound out of any country in the G7 from COVID. So, I mean, that just demonstrates how good of a job they've done. And then about your first point, taxing tips or no tax on tips. So yeah, my job too. Every single dollar of income I make is through tips. I do these debates. This is my job. People tip me on Venmo and PayPal, and that's how I make my money. So if like Trump was reelected and he actually introduced legislation of not taxing tips, I wouldn't pay any taxes. But the reason that this doesn't sway my vote to him is because I recognize everything. Sure, I wouldn't pay taxes, but all of a sudden, the rights of already marginalized communities would be further on the line. Sure, I wouldn't pay taxes, but the first time he served, he, you know, overturned Roe v. Wade and put the rights of all 170 million American women and girls at risk. Sure, I wouldn't pay taxes, but when he lost 2020, Baby Rage tried to get his VP not to certify the results of the election, and then his VP left him because he asked him to put Trump over the Constitution and try to undermine our democracy, even though he's disproven by 60 courts. And then also, how do we know that he's actually going to go through that promise? When he was running in 2016, he said he was going to build a wall and then stick the bill in Mexico. He built less than 20% and footed the bill to the American taxpayer. He also said he was going to pass an infrastructure bill. Literally never did, but then Biden got it done in his first year.
Okay, I mean, on both sides, like Republican and Democrat, I think that a lot of presidents like claim that they're going to do a lot of things and they really don't go through with them. But I just have a question, like also for you. How old are you?
I'm 19.
All right, so what do you like think about like how Kamala Harris said that like 18 to 24-year-olds like are stupid or whatever? There's a film of her saying that online, and like she said that they're stupid and should be kept in dorms. Like, what do you think about her basically calling your age group, our age group, like stupid? Like, what do you think?
I think it was a bit intense, right? I think that she could have used better language. But I do think that, you know, 18 through 23-year-olds are misguided, and that was the context of the speech that she was giving, right? She was basically explaining how, like, you know, like young people in the context of the U.S., right, they, you know, typically are, less educated and more impulsive and less mature than, like, older individuals. But, you know, like, overwhelmingly, this shouldn't give you reason to vote for Trump over her because he said all Republicans are stupid.
No, I'm mostly voting for Trump over Kamala, mostly because the way Kamala was,
Kamala.
you know, she was, sorry, whatever.
No, Kamala, you were right.
But she was obviously Biden's vice president, and I just fully like don't agree with most of the things that Biden has said and done. I believe that he is mostly incompetent.
Really? Can you name like one piece of policy that the Biden-Harris administration influenced to get passed that you disagree with?
Well, I'm just saying like his speeches and everything. Like I just think that he is physically not fit, and I don't see like.
That's why he's not running.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think he should either. But
Wait, what do you say he was too old to run?
What?
What do you say that Biden was too old to run?
No, of course not.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, just to clarify, if you're making an argument out of incompetence.
Yeah, no, I'm not making an argument
that was like, you understand that was like the only ammunition that the Republicans had, and you're still making it, even though Mamala over here is running for president. Who's more confident, Mamala or this guy?
What do you mean? Who's more
mentally competent? Mamala, right? Mommy Kamala, okay? Or this motherfucker?
I would probably go with Trump at the end of the day, either way.
Oh my God, you think Trump is more competent than Mommy Kamala? That is okay. Okay, I have something for you. I have something for you, okay? So, can you like tell me what Trump is talking about in this speech? That is quite the claim, saying that he's confident. We're just going to go on YouTube. We're going to go and look up Trump sharks batteries. And I want you to explain to me exactly what he what he's trying to say here. Because if you could help me understand, is like, silent whisper for the very, very competent Trump, it would be quite helpful. So let's go ahead and just turn this up.
My relationship to MIT, very smart. He goes, I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight, and you're in the boat, and you have this tremendously powerful battery, and the battery's now underwater, and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Do you notice that? A lot of shark. I watched some guys justifying it today. Well, they weren't really that angry. They bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He said there's no problem with sharks. They just didn't really understand a young woman swimming now really got decimated.
What was he saying there?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what that was, what the context was or anything, but
wait, but I thought he was competent, like mentally.
Okay,
down,
well, if you want to argue, that, there's been many.
Yeah, think of the mad rhythm.
There's been many things I've seen of Kamala where she beats around the bush and she wants to, and I quote, circle back to things, and she never does. There's been many times where she has spoken where the things that she is saying don't make sense at all. And I think that goes for both sides.
Okay, what doesn't go for both sides is engaging in literal delusion. Another facet of mental competence here is coherence with reality. And this is something that Donald Trump is absolutely detailed to every single American he doesn't have. Let me go ahead and start off with a very easy question. Did Trump win 2020? Was the election stolen from him?
No, I'm not going to say that, but I do think, yes.
He thought it was. He sure thought it was. He sure thought it was. He still thinks it is to this day. His son talked about it at the RNC. So there was no evidence to suggest that he had won 2020. He brought the court case that he did to 60 courts. They all threw it out, including 17 courts with judges that he appointed. He convinced tens of millions of American citizens that he was a rightful winner, tried to get his VP not to certify the results of the election. And he's still going to this day denying the results. And you're telling me that this man's mentally competent. No, he engages in literal delusion. And he does this time and time and time again. Sunshine, I appreciate you for the money gun. He creates his own reality. He just absolutely disengages with reality. The denial of the election with no evidence, delusion. Saying that Biden was manipulating and controlling the DOJ to unfairly persecute a political opponent, delusion. All this shit is delusion, point blank, period, right?
Right.
And then I just think trying to make the argument that he's more competent than she is just outclassed. She outclasses him in every respect. Not only is she more intelligent, she has more charisma, she has more stage presence, she brings people together more. She's about unity and freedom. He's about, power, tyranny, and fascism. She's the prosecutor. He's the prosecuted. She's not a rapist. He is. She's not a racist. He is. She's not a misogynist. He is. She doesn't want to put the rights of all 170 million American women and girls at risk. He does.
Okay, yeah. So I always see a lot of people saying that Trump is racist. Could you just give me one thing that he has actually said that is actually racist?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the money gun, KT. 1973, he had civil litigation against him because he was renting out houses and apartments to people. And every single time he would get an application from anybody that wasn't white, he would put a letter C that stood for colored on their appliation, and he would reject it.
Okay, this was 1973.
Yeah, and then he was even held accountable for this by civil court, and he ended up having to write a statement to our federal government saying that he would no longer discriminate on the basis of race, right? We could also reference Central Park 5, right, where he particularly wanted these exonerated individuals to be sentenced to death. Right. We could also reference the birther movement. Right. So he assumed that Obama wasn't born in the U.S., but was rather born in Kenya, with literally no evidence to suggest this. Right. It's literal racism. Right. We could also reference him referring to quote unquote black jobs. What the hell is a black job? He referenced the African American community as black with an S at the end. Yeah,
I'd be interested to look into that for sure. But another thing, if you want to go and bring up things from the past, I know Biden's not running for president, but Kamala was his vice. So if you want to bring up things from the past, Joe Biden has said in the past that he was not for gay marriage and things like that.
Yeah,
but
Biden's not running for president.
But another reason why I'm voting for
we could reference past. So what I would have said while
Okay.
Biden was running for president is that I think that Biden and Trump both have a history of racism. However, it's the case that Biden has since apologized and changed his character. But Biden's not even running for president. No, we're not comparing Trump to Biden. We're comparing Trump to Kamala. Could you give me one racist thing that Kamala's done?
No, I can't, because I honestly have not done complete full research on Kamala yet. like as I have with Joe Biden. But just another reason that I would choose Trump over Kamala would be, okay, whatever it is, would just be because of the border crisis that we really do have going on right now. We are kicking out veterans when we have in New York City, especially. I've seen it. I have gone to New York City. There's been nursing homes where people are getting kicked out of and they're housing immigrants there instead, where I just think that we should probably take care of the American people first before. I have no problem with immigrants coming into this country. Like a lot of my family members are from other countries or whatever. But I just think that we should focus on taking care of our American people before we pay for healthcare for immigrants, pay for them to have phones, pay for them for everything that they are getting right now for free.
Yeah. Who controls like the housing and like healthcare and phone situation of the undocumented migrants in New York? The federal government, like the Biden-Harris administration, or the New York government?
As far as I'm concerned, it'd probably be the New York government.
Yeah. So why would we be like seeking repercussions?
But I'm saying
from
that
from Kamala's activities. Also, you should blame it on Trump. You want to know why?
Yeah, I would.
Because he told you to.
What?
He told you to. The Biden-Harris administration, they took the border crisis pretty seriously. They've had legislation, bipartisan legislation, in the border to end the crisis at the southern border on the House floor 2.5 years after they were elected. And you know what happened? Trump called Republican lawmakers in the House and the Senate, told them to vote against the bill because he didn't want the Democrats to look good. He even said at one of his rallies to blame it on him if the border bills fail.
Okay, so what do you think about the Kamala Harris being the border czar thing? With the border czar thing. Do you believe that she actually was not appointed as that?
So I mean, Republican, like people in the House as well as the Senate have came out and said that wasn't true. Okay, then like additionally, she had particular like duties to do the border, but they were diplomatic. Right, so she had like diplomatic duties of like decreasing the amount of like migration to the southern border because of economic disparities in like southern Latin American countries. And I can't give you the specifics on the spot. I'd have to look them up. But she did quite well with that. But like additionally speaking here, we even just reference the policy of the Biden-Harris administration that they try to get influenced, through the House and the Senate. 2 bipartisan border bills failed because Trump called the Republican lawmakers. He told them to blame it on him. And then ultimately speaking, after both of those bills failed, Biden passed an executive order that decreased border crossings by 55%. So we have less crossings over the southern border today than we had at the end of Trump's term.
Right.
Yo, Braxton, I appreciate you so much for the $1 in Venmo. Braxton says you're such a pathetic F-slur. Thanks for the $1, Braxton. Shouldn't be slurring. Go ahead.
But do you not agree that like the border does need like specific attention to like get it under control?
Wait, do you think we have a border crisis today?
Yeah, I do.
So you'd say that we also had a border crisis under Trump's presidency at the end of it because we had more crossings?
Yes, I would. I would agree.
Okay, so if we had the same crisis under both presidencies, if anything, it was a little bit worse under Trump's, why would this give you a reason not to vote for the Biden-Harris administration?
I definitely would disagree that I think now it is worse than it was.
No, there's less crossings now than there was at the end of Trump's presidency.
And is that statistical or is that like...
Yeah, we saw a 55% decrease in the amount of border crossings after Biden's executive order.
Okay, but how do you really know that if there's legit videos of like immigrants like running across the borders and like breaking things down, just running in illegally? Like, how are you supposed to count those people?
Wait, if we can't count the amount of people crossing the southern border, then how do you know that we've ever had a border crisis under the Biden-Harris administration? Because like we can't count the numbers.
Because it's overfilling.
Wait, how do you know that it's overfilling? Homes. According to you, we can't count the numbers.
Okay, but they're taking nursing
Catherine,
homes.
thank you for the $1 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the $1. He says, I bet Braxton.
They're using other buildings to house these immigrants.
Wait, I like the point here is you are literally just like looking at what's happening at the southern border. You are uninformed about it. You're yielding false conclusions. You're blaming things on the Biden-Harris administration that shouldn't be blamed on them. Instead, they should be blamed on Trump because he told you to blame it on him. And then when I reference like particular figures insofar as how the amount of border crossings has decreased since Biden's executive order, you just disregard them, right? And you're actually disagreeing with Trump here. You know what Trump was talking about right before he got shot at his rally? Do you know what he was talking about?
What?
He was talking about the border crisis under the Biden-Harris administration. And do you know what he was referencing for how many crossings there were per day?
No.
government agencies, and these same government agencies are reporting today that there's more crossings at the end of Trump's term than there is after Biden signed in his executive order that led to a 55% decrease in the amount of daily crossings. And she left. Okay. And she left. Awesome. Elijah, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. I appreciate you so much for the love. And Corrine, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Corrine says that she's purely uninformed. Thank you so much for the love, Corrine. James, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. James says, I'd love to talk about philosophy sometimes. You've been sending me that same message on Venmo forever. I'd love to talk philosophy with you, man. You've been trying to do that forever. So W Corrine and W James in the chat. James, we got to get in touch. You've been sending that message to me like every day for a couple weeks. I'm down, man. You've been putting the work in, man. We're gonna go to get our next guest up in here, guys. If we're in the guest request, make sure that we're voted for Trump. We're gonna go to move on, y'all. W James, he's been sending that same message in for a while. I'm down to talk to you. And Joseph, thank you so much for the $20. Hey, Joseph, thank you for the $20 on PayPal. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some massive W, Josephs in that comment section for the $20 on PayPal. Thank you so much, man. If anyone else wants to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal, or in my bio, I get 100% of those proceeds. I'll give you a shout out on live. It is the best way to support me. But what's up, Rotsky? How old are you?
Hi, Dean. Thank you so much for asking me to join. I am 33 years old.
Phenomenal. Are you voting for Trump? You sound too nice to vote for Trump. You're not voting for Trump, are you?
Thank you. No, I am. Yeah, my family is very Christian, and I live by those principles. Sorry, I'm really nervous. I don't know why. There's lots of people here.
Okay, so why are you voting for Trump?
Because I believe that he is a man of God, and I agree with a lot of parts of Project 2025. I believe that we should go back to a nuclear family, and there's one point I like to make, and that is, if we are going to go through with deporting migrants en masse, we are going to be deporting our young workers, and we're in the midst of a population crisis. And a big tenet of Project 2025 is to encourage families to start creating more children. Again, when you and I are old, there isn't going to be enough money for our pensions. There's not going to be enough people to run our hospitals, our old folks' home, and we need to do something about that.
Are you joking?
No, I know it's kind of outlandish, but I'm serious.
Oh, stop, dude. Oh my God. Oh, I'm losing faith. Ladies and gentlemen, I am losing faith. You can't be real. Well, no, you sound so sweet too. Jesus Christ.
Hold on, Dean.
Can I start off with your first claim here?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. You said Trump is a man of God, and you also said that you support the nuclear family. You said the nuclear family was between what? One man and one woman?
Well, I didn't say that.
So what is the nuclear family to you?
Well, 2 parents and lots of children.
Two people, 2
I'm
parents.
gay.
So just...
Oh, sorry.
You're part of the LGBTQ plus community, but you say
yeah.
you're a Christian, you hold to Christian values, and you support Project 2025.
Yeah, my church is open to it. It was a struggle for a long time because when I went through confirmation when I was 12, I went through
confirmation. Confirmation is a Catholic process. Do you belong? Okay.
Yeah. And my pastor said, a couple things like I can't kiss girls, I can't listen to metal. Babies who aren't baptized at birth go to hell if they're stillborn. Like, I was really depressed, but then I finally found a church that agreed with my values and promoted my ability to live true to myself.
Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead.
I'm outside with my cat. It might be a bit loud. I should go inside.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and put you on mute while you're going inside because that background noise is a bit loud. So we're just gonna go ahead and start deconstructing this mess. Wow. Okay. So let me just get a few things clear. So you support strong Christian values. You support the nuclear family having lots of kids, and you support Project 2025. But you yourself are actually a part of the LGBTQ+ community, and you are speaking in an incredibly sweet tone. There's just a lot to go through here. Let's start off with your first claim that Trump was a man of God. So Trump was held civilly liable for the rape of E. Jean Carroll. He sexualized a 5th grader by saying he'll date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. He boasted about walking into the changing rooms of half-naked teens at Miss Teen USA because he owned the place, with there being girls as young as 15 there. He also boasted on Access Hollywood, specifically about grabbing women by the P word without consent. He's had 3 wives, cheated on all of them. And how is this man a man of God?
I mean, that's hard. Like, you have to understand, like, where I live, and you know, the people I'm surrounded with. Like, a lot of people just don't believe that. So
Don't believe what specifically?
well, all of the claims that are being made and the court case that's going on right now, people just don't believe it.
Okay, so yeah,
and
so
people who do believe it just don't care.
okay, well,
don't
I'm
know
actually
that's all.
I'm specifically talking to you and what you care about, but yo, real quick, I gotta thank a couple people for the donations. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Elizabeth. Y'all, please, let's show some love to Elizabeth in the chat. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Massive W, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo. That's so kind of you. Z, thank you for the $2 on Venmo. Derek, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Kara, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Tara with the $5 on Venmo. Nick with the $10 on Venmo. Dylan with the $20 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Dylan. Massive W, Dylans. Anthony with the $10 on Venmo. And James with the $10 on Venmo. You guys are absolutely so kind. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all. Please show some love to our donors. And thank you all so much. Y'all are absolutely going crazy on the Venmo and the PayPal right now. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm specifically asking you for what your opinion is. And all that you're really telling me here is that you don't believe the court case. So it is a proven fact that Trump is a rapist. So he was brought to civil court, and over 2 years, the jury was provided with a preponderance of evidence to make a unanimous decision that Trump was a rapist.
I don't think that graping should be illegal. I mean, I eat grapes all the time. That was a joke. Sorry, I hate TikTok rules. I really do.
I don't think that we should be joking about grape.
The word and the fact that we have to say that because TikTok is silly and polices our words when in reality we all know what we're talking about. I think that is pretty silly. I don't think rape is a fucking joke at all. It's not.
Say grape.
Okay. I'll go by it. Grape. I don't think rape is a joke.
Okay. Well, yeah, so Trump is a grape. So I don't understand why you'd say he's a man of God.
You have to understand it's really difficult for me and a lot of people who are in our culture. You know, it's I feel pressured by family, by friends, by work, by my church. And I don't know what to believe sometimes, but all I know is that like I don't want to displease my parents. I don't want to displease my friends, you know?
Okay, I feel you. So my mom is sitting in the other room right now. Right, I'm staying with her for a month before I get a new apartment. She's been banned off of Facebook 18 times for like making fun of liberals.
Yeah,
She's
like
she's a mega cultist.
Oh, I just got a warning because I said that these people lack brain cells to some people who are spitting at they were anti-abortion protesters and they were spitting at the security. And I'm like, these guys are going about it in the wrong way. They lack brain cells. And I got a warning.
Oh, let's talk about that. So Trump elected 3 justices to the Supreme Court specifically to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, okay? Justice Alito.
Just allow me to finish, please. In overturning Roe v. Wade, led to the rights of women in 23 of our states, insofar as their rights to bodily autonomy and integrity and access to healthcare, to be severely undermined, infringed, or just outright taken away from them. And it puts the rights of all 170 million American women and girls on the line. Do you agree with that?
Sorry, I just, like, you seem to have really good supporters and fans here. They seem really concerned for me.
I'm concerned for you, but maybe
I don't.
My question.
Sorry, I really don't want to be worrying people here. I just wanted to join in and just let you know how myself and a lot of my, the people around me feel and believe. Like, I just want to bring you a different perspective, and that's we're Christian. We're going to vote for the Christian party, the party that promotes our values, which are pro-life.
Okay, so you're pro-life. So you think it is a good thing to have the rights of all 170 million American women and children infringed upon. I just want to go and tell you, women and children, women and girls, sorry, to be infringed upon.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like really negative outcomes of this. You said that you support the family unit, while pro-life legislation destroys the family unit because it shifts the American interest away from being financially well off, desiring to have children, desiring to start a family and raise them, to these 18, 19, and 20-year-old boys and girls being forced into starting a family because the state won't allow the woman the access to her body. It destroys the family unit. It puts unwanted children in unready households. It increases the rates of poverty.
Can I just be frank? Project 2025, when they state that they want to force legally families to have more babies, we're talking about white Christian families, which is what a lot of people who support Trump have been wanting for a long time without outright stating it. If we get rid of immigrants by deporting them, we are not going to have a workforce. And I'm also starting to get a lot of hate comments on my videos. So, and I just got a few death threats, so it's not
well. I mean, so everybody watching the live, please don't like send her death threats or hate comments, right? Just kind of let's engage in conversation here. I mean, ultimately speaking here, we do have 7.1 thousand people. Ultimately, there's going to be people that don't listen to me. But if you're a supporter of mine, right, don't do that. Right? We're trying to engage in critical thought, hopefully change your mind, but Jesus Christ, this is a rough one. So
Yeah.
I was asking you specifically about how you felt about Roe v. Wade and how you
Yeah.
felt about what limitations on access to abortion and healthcare for all 170 million American women looks like and what it leads to. And your response is that you want to uphold the white Christian nuclear family.
Well, for me, I don't have.
1 second. Kendra, thank you so much for the $50 on PayPal. I really appreciate you for that love, Kendra. Let's get some massive W Kendras in that chat for the $50 on Venmo. That is absolutely so kind of you. Massive W Kendras. Let's get at least 100 W Kendras down below, guys. W Kendras for the next 5 minutes. Thank you so much for the $50. Thank you, Kendra. Is there any way that you can mute your is there any way that you can mute your notifications?
Yeah, again, I'm just getting a lot of hate on my page.
I get death threats too. It sucks, but I swear to God, everyone
Yeah,
watching, if you're a friend of mine, you're not going to be sending her death threats.
I've never had this
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, no, I want to make it very clear to everyone watching. Don't send her death threats. Don't just don't. Like, I mean, come on. Like, the point of this live is to get individuals to engage in critical thought. Let's just keep it to that. Let's not keep it to death threats. Let's not turn this in to UFC fetch. Let's not do that. But anyways, back on what we're talking about here. You're saying that you're voting for Trump because you agree with Project 2025. You're voting for Trump because you think he's a man of God. You're voting for Trump because of your true Christian values. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just say this outright. It is not a Christian value to support a man that has attempted to undermine our democracy, disenfranchise the family unit by perpetuating pro-life legislation and perpetuating the grape culture, systemic misogyny, and the acceptance and adoptance of not only sexual abuse, but sexual abusers by having white men deny what he did to E. Jean Carroll with no sufficient reason. And that's the facts. Okay. I understand you're a Christian, but
good
this
for you
is
for bringing up
antithetical to the
January
Christian
6th and
worldview.
the fact that he tried to overthrow, what a lot of people believe was he tried to overthrow our democracy. I will just say that there are a few minority who actually like that about him. They like the fact that he is going to.
Well, I'm talking to Roxy. I
instill his
really.
favorites. I'm just trying to let you know, give you an even broader view because I think a lot of the people you're going to be getting on TikTok are pretty.
But I want to
moderate.
talk to you about what you feel. I don't want to talk to you about what anyone else feels apart from you.
Well, I feel under pressure from my own values and the radicals that are in my family, like your mom.
So you don't feel okay. So in a vacuum, would you vote for Trump without societal pressures?
I've never even thought of that. My dad has become violent when we talk about this, so.
Yeah, I got kicked out.
I should go. I'm getting a lot of hate, and it's really concerning me. Sorry about that.
Hey, I'm gonna hit you with a follow. Just DM me if you want to talk about what you believe in. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, have a good one.
Night.
We're gonna go and move on to our next guest. I think that she just needs someone to talk to about these things. I think that she just really needed someone to talk to about these things. So, yeah. I hit her with a follow. Please just DM me about what you think, how you feel, and the person you want to be. And I don't mind like trying to be there just to give an alternate perspective. Carrie, thank you so much for the holy shit, Carrie. Holy crap. Carrie, thank you so much for the $75 on PayPal. That is crazy. Holy shit, yo. Let's get at least 300 W carries in that chat for these $75 on PayPal. That is just out of this world. Carrie, thank you so much for the love. Massive W carries in the chat for the $75. That means the absolute world to me. You're a gem. Thank you for the support. Holy shit, I don't deserve that. Thank you so much, Gary. What's going on, guest? How old are you? Okay, guest it automatically left. Oh, you're back. Hey, how old are you? Hello? Okay, no vocal cords. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. For the 7.5 thousand people in here, make sure to hit that follow button. I do these debates every single day. And if you're MAGA, hop in the queue, hop in the chat, let me know. We're just doing some debates. We're going to go ahead and pull up our next guest right now. Let's go to get Bree Billions up in the live, y'all. And if you are voting for Trump, seriously, just let me know in that chat, guys. We're going to go and pull up our next individual to debate. So let's go and get him up here. So be patient while we do that, guys. But in the meantime, do double tap on that phone screen. Do share that live. We're going to go to get our next guest up in here, y'all. And if you're MAGA, just let me know in the chat. That's the easiest way to pull people up. What's up? How old are you? All right, typical Trump supporter. Moving on to our next guest here, y'all. Everyone just give us a minute, guys. We're going to go and load up our next guest, y'all. Everyone just do be patient. Let's go and get Jay Hamilton up in the live. And Peach, thank you so much for the $1. I'm broke, which is why I'm voting for Harris 2024. Yo, WB Kamala. Yeah, Trump wants to fuck you over. What's up, Jay Hamilton? How old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay. Are you in? Where do you live?
No, I'm British, but I've just got something to say. If you've got a couple minutes.
Nope. Moving on to our next guest. We're only looking to talk to people that are indeed going to be voting for Trump. So everyone, just give us a minute, y'all. Everyone, just give us a minute, guys. We're moving on to our next guest here, y'all. We're moving on, guys. Everyone, just give us a minute. We're still trying to get our next guest up in the stream. We are literally accepting everybody and anyone for these debates. What's up, boss? How old are you?
Hey, what's up, man? 34.
34. Are you? Can you disconnect me from Bluetooth?
You're not on Bluetooth.
Okay. Are you voting for Trump?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Why so?
Just my taxes are lower under him, and as a federal employee, I got taken care of much better under the Trump regime. So,
my brother, we're still under the same Trump tax code today. Your taxes were not lower under him. That was a lie.
Well, I understand that he's the one that did it, though, is what I'm saying.
Donna, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Donna. Massive W, Donna, in the chat. Thank you. No, you said your taxes were lower under him.
Well, I maybe phrased that poorly, but my taxes are lower because of him, is what I meant to say.
Okay, well, if you're referencing the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, so 83% of those tax cuts went to the top 1%, and it footed a bill of $2 trillion on the American taxpayer through debt-related spending, and it only leads to an average annual GDP increase of 0.02%. So spending $2 trillion for 0.02% of the GDP is wild. Not to mention that there's evaluations from the Tax Policy Center that indicate over the 10-year lifespan of the bill, it's actually going to reduce the after-tax income for the middle class and increase it for the top 1%.
Hey, man, I just want to, in full disclosure, I'm a senior policy analyst for the IRS, so I promise I know way more about this stuff than you do. But I'm not sure. You're saying it's a bigger tax cut for the rich. I mean, sure, like if you're just talking about a flat reduction in the tax rate, yeah, 2% of $1 million is bigger than 2% of $100,000. So if you're going to use that as your metric, then sure, it's nominally a bigger tax cut for the rich. But
no, we're not going to be referencing like some like nominal evaluation. What we're referencing is like in the particular Tax Cuts and Jobs Act where those reductions within the tax code specifically went to, and like 83% of those tax reductions within the code went to people making over $400,000.
So what specifically? What are the benefits that you're thinking just went to the rich that didn't also benefit the lower middle class?
Well, I mean, I could like pull up like the article that I'd be citing here, or
Sure.
insofar as like how 83% of the tax cuts went to the top 1%. But I feel like a conversation on what specific cuts went to the top 1% that didn't go to the middle class or like the low class is going to be like super irrelevant to the overall perspective. What percentage of the reductions of the tax code went to the top 1%?
But again, 2% of $1 million is bigger than 2% of $100,000, but they're both tax cuts and they're both proportionate to a person's lifestyle. So if a billionaire or a millionaire saved more money in taxes than I did, that's great. I also save taxes. I'm better off. So I'm not understanding the relevance of you saying that.
So are you saying that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gave every single American the same tax breaks?
I'm not sure where you're driving at with that question, but there are no tax breaks that are specifically available to the wealthy that are not available to small business owners, mom and pop shops.
Yeah, so like what we're specifically speaking about here is going to be a reduction in like the tax bracket. So like he reduced the tax bracket specifically for people making over $400,000 a year, right? Decrease like corporate tax rates, and
Okay,
like,
so
which led
the
to 83%
reduction-
of these tax cuts went into the top 1%. But I mean, even if like we ignore this specific conversation of what tax cuts went where, right? This still footed $2 trillion onto our national debt and only led to an average annual GDP increase of 0.02%. So it's
I
like the
don't
overwhelming
disagree.
point here that the Biden or like Harris would aim to achieve if she is elected isn't right getting rid of Trump's tax code, but is rather increasing taxes on people making over $400,000 a year. So we're not paying $2 trillion for a 0.02% increase in the tax code. Sorry, not for in our GDP.
Okay, so just going back to what you said, reducing taxes cannot inherently add to the debt. The only thing that can add to the debt is spending. Okay, and so I don't disagree with you that we got a spending problem. We got a big spending problem, but just inherently
we had to spend money right to account for like the loss in government revenue. That's how it worked. I mean, if you go to like if you go to our government, if you go to any evaluation of the deficit under Trump's presidency, the main leading driver, apart from his 2.3 trillion like COVID relief stimulus, is going to be $1.9 trillion allocated towards his Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That is a fact.
Okay, but again, the only thing that can add to the debt is spending. It does not cost to reduce tax collection. And on top of that, TCJA has actually increased tax revenues. So your whole premise is flawed because tax revenues are up over $1 trillion since TCJA was implemented. So that whole premise is just completely bogus.
Wait, so just saying that it's gone up since it was implemented is not sufficient in dictating how the particular TCJA would have caused the increase. Like when we were looking at like our economists that would dictate what the TCJA has done for our economy, right? Specifically, we'd see economists from Harvard that would indicate it has only led to a 0.02% average annual increase in our GDP. Thank you so much for the money gun.
Okay, I'm not sure why you're bringing GDP into my
you have to specifically indicate right how the introduction of the TCJA led to a greater increase within tax revenues.
Because there were a lot of loopholes that were closed for wealthy taxpayers through the TCJA that are never discussed. For example, the 461 limitations, the excess business loss limitations.
Okay, you're just going to pound me on the specifics of the tax code.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, if you're going to consider you're wrong, we can move on. So as a federal employee, I also got taken care of better under the Trump regime. So
God, fuck. Yeah, what's your federal job?
I just told you I'm a senior policy analyst for the IRS.
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Okay, so if you bring up like this, like the hyper specific details of
yes,
the
which is what you were ignoring conveniently because they don't benefit your point.
Fucking hell. Okay, right. Yes, you get paid money to sit down every day. I'm looking at how much people are making as a senior tax. What was the title of your job again?
It's currently senior policy analyst. I've been an auditor. I've been a global high wealth auditor, so I've been heavily involved in
Yeah, dude. Okay. Yeah, if you were to debate the hyper specific details of the TCJA, you would be best fit against an economist or a tax analyst.
I'm not talking about the effects of the economy. I'm saying me personally, I'm voting Trump for that policy because I am better off because of it. That's my point. You asked me why I'm voting, and that's my answer. So you're bringing in GDP, you're bringing in additions to the debt, which may or may not be related. My point is I'm better off because of that legislation, and so that wins my vote. And again,
so
Trump
because you're better off, and then that's like I feel like that's going to be like the ideological separation between someone like you and me, right? Because I just don't think because something makes you better off at the detriment of others that this would give you good reason to vote for them. I'm at the detriment of the 170 million American women in the context and girls in the context of the USA because he elected 3 individuals to the Supreme Court to specifically overturn Roe v. Wade that put their access to healthcare and their rights on the line. I mean, at the detriment of our democracy in 2020, he attempted to overthrow it, right? Telling his VP not to certify the results of the election, with him ultimately going on record and saying that he no longer supports Trump because he wanted him to put Trump above the U.S. Constitution. But, you're better off, and that's all that you care about. So I have a question. If Trump supported the reintroduction of slavery to the U.S., but all those that would be affected negatively via said slavery would not be yourself or people that you care about, would you still support him?
Nope.
No, but I thought you said particularly the only reason you're voting for Trump is because you're better off. You'd still be better off under the system. There'd just be a more severe detriment to others.
No, well, I mean, he's not trying to bring back slavery, so I don't think the point's relevant.
Well, it's relevant because you said that the only reason you're voting for Trump is because you were better off.
I'm saying that's my reason, is because obviously there's an infinite theoretical number of factors that could outweigh that particular factor. But in the current climate, there are no other factors that are outweighing that. And again, I said I've also got better pay raises under the Trump regime than I did under the Biden regime. And so, I'm going to look at who's the federal workforce is the largest workforce in the country. And you got a Republican administration that's doing a better job. That's insane because Republicans historically do not like federal workers. We got taken way better care of under Trump than under Biden.
How specifically?
You look at the annual...
Chelsea, thank you so much for the $20 on PayPal. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some Chelseas in the chat. Thank you so much for the $20. Thank you.
You look at the annual wage increases compared to inflation, and under the Trump regime, we lost about 1.4% of our spending power, compared to under Biden's tenure so far, we've lost about 6.8 when you look at the wage increases compared to inflation. So
how did the Biden-Harris administration cause inflation? Because I'm going to guess the driving factor there insofar as you having more spending power under Trump and Biden.
That wasn't what I said.
Inflation under Biden.
That wasn't what I said. I said Trump's raises were more or less keeping up with inflation when Biden is not paying his workforce even commensurate with inflation. So.
I mean, I feel like a big driving factor there is going to be like the high rates of inflation under Biden's presidency, like uncontested just as a result of the pandemic in comparison, to like the inflationary pressures that we saw under Trump's presidency. Another factor that must be considered here is, well, like what money are we going to be spending on increases for like federal workers' pay relative to inflation? We're going to be spending, like tax revenue. But,
after we sit... Dude, the government spending does not come from tax revenue. The government spending comes from selling treasury bonds. That's not tax revenue, buddy.
Well, tax revenue and treasury bonds.
You look at the proportion, it's debt spending, dude. Tax revenues account for nothing.
So sorry, maybe I could have been more hyper specific, right? So the government revenue and what the money that they spend is going to be coming from treasury bonds as well as tax revenue. However, like this still doesn't negate the point that after we're spending like $2 trillion under Trump and then $1.9 trillion under Biden on COVID stimulus, like of course I don't think that we should expect to see an increase in federal workers' pays to keep up with the 9% almost hyperinflation that we saw due to the pandemic, right? I think the adequate response to that was to pass legislation such as the CHIPS and Science Act to bring manufacturing jobs back home here in America, the Inflation Reduction Bill to invest money into long-term goals of renewable energy resources to reduce inflation long-term, or like the infrastructure bill that invested $1 trillion into our roads, generating manufacturing jobs here at home in America once again. I think the main point here is what we see under the Biden-Harris administration has been policy to increase drilling here at home in America, has been to decrease inflation long term, and has been to increase manufacturing jobs here at home in America as well. And the reason I'm voting for Kamala over Trump in this election isn't because of the historic legislation that they passed, let alone, but it's also because I think that Trump is someone who should not be anywhere near the Oval Office due to things such as being held civilly liable for rape and serving as a pure and blatant threat to the freedom of the people in our country and a threat to our democracy as a whole.
Yeah, I like you're a clever kid. You're really careful with your wording, which I admire. You're going to make a great attorney if that's what you're aspiring to do. So I genuinely mean that as a compliment. But the way you say he's held civilly liable, I like how you're very careful in how you phrase that.
Because the way you say guilty, he's a grapist.
The threshold for proof, I'm sure you're aware, is lower in civil court. But even besides that, the smoking gun evidence in that case was the Access Hollywood tape, which they're saying demonstrated that he had a propensity to, I don't know what words I'm allowed to say in here, but violate women without their consent. But you look at the plain language of the quote from that tape, what does it say? And I'm just talking the plain language. You can infer anything you want, but you look at the plain language of what was said in the quote of that tape, what was it?
He just says that he likes to unconsensually grab women by the P word.
That's a direct quote. He said, I like to unconsensually grab women by the P word. That's not the direct quote.
I don't know the direct quote. Would you like
the direct quote is, you can grab them by the P word and they let you. Plain language there is consent, my guy. So you can infer anything you want, but I'm just going off the plain language.
Oh, yeah. What was his next? What was his next words, boss?
I don't know. You tell me.
You don't even have to ask first.
No, okay, yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, it is. It is a fair point. So see what I mean? And not only was this not the smoking gun evidence, so what we particularly saw was a preponderance of evidence from multiple places. So not only did we have the consistency within her medical records, the therapist notes from the 90s, consistency with the testimony of other people in what she told, and then also the dress that she claimed had Trump's semen on it. Katie, thank you so much for the gun.
No one ever claimed semen. It was DNA.
Yeah, so it was particularly classified as unknown male semen.
I mean, I read through it a couple days ago, and I remember it specifically said that there wasn't semen on the dress, but regardless.
It was classified as DNA on the dress, and it was classified as unknown male semen.
Okay. Regardless.
Well, I mean, no, this isn't regardless because I'm still speaking here.
Go ahead.
Cut me off there.
Go for it.
And then like Trump fails to provide his DNA to the court of law for 2 years, right? So assuming Trump was an innocent man there, he would have had so many good reasons to provide his DNA to the court of law for that to be tested against the DNA found on the dress. He would have been able to, save hundreds of millions of dollars in the defamation suits from Carroll. He would have been able to particularly save the money from the legal fees. He would have particularly been able to countersue E. Jean Carroll for hundreds of millions of dollars as well, right? He tried and failed, by the way. And he would have been able to use that innocent indictment, right, to show the American people, sorry, not indictment, the innocent liability claim upheld to show the American people that the left was truly using the criminal justice system to unfairly persecute a political opponent. But he didn't give his DNA. So can you name one good reason for him not to give his DNA, assuming he was an innocent man?
I'm not privy to what the conversations were between his counsel and himself, but I know similar to like you get pulled over for DUI, you're always advised to not give a breathalyzer, even if you haven't been drinking at all. So I would presume, and this is just from an outside observer, that would be the line of reasoning. It's just advice from counsel, and I'm not privy to what those conversations were, so I don't have an answer for you there, buddy.
Okay, so yeah, would you specifically agree with me with all the good reasons for him to provide his DNA to prove he's innocent if he was innocent?
I mean, sure, as an outside observer, logically it makes sense, but again, even people that haven't been drinking are advised by counsel not to submit to a breathalyzer. So what's the good reason for that? Again, I'm not an attorney, so I can't give you a good legal explanation.
Yeah, of course. And then a couple other things here. Do you typically accept the conclusions upheld by civil courts?
I mean, I feel like that's a loaded question.
No,
I think they have their place. As I mentioned earlier, the threshold.
Yeah, but do
you
think that they're typically reliable in determining the guilt of defendants?
I don't have an answer for you. I'll answer this.
You don't know if our criminal. I have a question.
Let me concede this.
You don't know if our
you.
criminal justice system is typically reliable?
No, I don't. But let me concede this to you. If it came out indisputably that Trump was guilty of what he's accused of, I would absolutely not vote for him. So there's my answer for that. I don't tolerate that. I don't accept it. The facts of that case as they've been presented, I'm not 100% convinced. So that's not going to win my vote.
I really don't feel like we're going to get anywhere in our question if you just failed to respond to what I'm saying here. Do you typically accept the conclusions formed by courts? Are courts more likely than not going to be correct?
You'd hope so. But again,
I'm asking you if you think so.
You have to look at the facts of the case that you can't just speak in generalities. I mean, you hope in generalities courts are going to be reliable.
We're going to start with a generality, and then we're going to get specific. We're not playing chess here. We're just having a good conversation. So do you typically think that courts are reliable in determining guilt correctly?
I have not performed the analysis necessary to reach a conclusion to answer your question.
Okay, so you're just agnostic on the efficacy of our criminal justice system? Dude.
That's quite the straw man. I said I haven't done the research necessary to answer that question. That doesn't mean I don't care.
No, that means you're agnostic. You don't really know if our criminal justice
that means
system
I have other priorities that I devote my time to.
Yeah, so see, like one thing that I think I see quite frequently with like members of the MAGA cult that actually are smarter, like yourself. You're a pretty smart dude. You're absolutely. You work for the IRS.
You, Harry and Parker, I genuinely am impressed. You guys are very articulate for your age, very intelligent. I commend you. I obviously fundamentally disagree with you guys, but I think you guys are, I think you provide value to society, and I genuinely mean that.
Oh, I appreciate that. But like I said, you're a pretty smart dude. But this is what the smarter members of like the MAGA voter base do. Instead of like outright denying that Trump is a rapist, they take a form of sophistry, of a very sophist way to kind of get around it. That just being, well, they just don't know if our criminal justice system is reliable. And that's what you do. You say, well, I don't know if the facts presented in the case were sufficient. I don't know if our courts are typically correct. I don't know anything about, just let me finish talking here. I don't know anything about nothing. Therefore, I don't know that Trump is a rapist. But like, I have never heard this argument used before any time in history. Like, when have we said, based upon the conviction of any court, that we just don't know if the court's reliable, regardless of further, regardless of further articulation on the state of our criminal justice system as it stands, or the particular individualistic aspects of the court case in of itself. It's crazy. I think it is just a way for you to kind of be willfully ignorant about the court case that found him to have raped E. Jean Carroll, and just kind of circumnavigate conversation around it, for you to just kind of accept that he's a rapist without really saying it outright.
So that court determined that it was more likely than not. Sure, is that concerning?
Purdy,
Absolutely.
thank you for the lovely music. I appreciate you for the love. So would you vote for someone that was determined to be more likely than not to have raped a woman?
Okay, when you say determined to be, if you're saying they actually did it, absolutely, I would not vote for them. But if you're saying if they met the threshold to be considered more likely than not, I'd have to weigh the facts and circumstances of that case, and I have weighed the facts and circumstances of this case, and I am not 100% convinced. So I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to give it any more credence than I would give to the accuser of Joe Biden. You know, I think they're both equally. Sure, if it happened, I sympathize with those victims, and I would absolutely not vote for the accused if they did it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You said that you want to give it any more credence than the accuser of Joe Biden. So Tara Reid, the accuser of Joe Biden, lied, perjured herself in court, fled to Russia, enjoyed a misinformation campaign. The accuser of Donald Trump kept a consistent story, provided evidence to a jury for 2 years, and gave enough jury in a court of law sufficient evidence to believe that Trump more likely than not raped her. How would we be able to hold to the conclusion that both of these allegations are just as likely to be true?
I didn't say they're just as likely. I said I don't give any more credence to one or the other based on the evidence that I've seen.
Yeah, credence would be.
I've already conceded. Wait, I've already conceded. If it came out 100% that he did it, I'm not going to vote for him. I wouldn't vote for him.
Wait, but what do you say? When you don't give more credence to E. Jean Carroll than you give to Tara Reid, if you're not speaking in a likelihood of how likely it is what they're saying is correct, then in what terms are you speaking in?
Well, I mean, we're to believe all victims, right? I mean, that's kind of the narrative. I'm not trying to discredit any victims. I encourage victims to come out, and we should believe them. But at the same time, like, you got to be 100% convinced.
Well, no,
that's a huge accusation.
Socially speaking, here, right? The way in which we should operate is if a victim comes out and accuses someone of raping them, the rapee is guilty until proven innocent. Socially speaking, right? This is not legally speaking. Right. This is socially speaking, right? And the way that Biden was quote unquote proven innocent here is his accuser lied, contradicted her story, perjured herself in court, fled to Russia, and joined a misinformation campaign. Where did E. Jean Carroll lie, contradict her story, perjure herself in court, flee to Russia, and join a misinfo campaign?
Man, you're trying to draw conclusions that I'm just simply not making. I've said I'm not 100% convinced.
No, you said that you'd give just as much credence to Tara Reid's claims as you would to E. Jean Carroll.
Yeah, man, you're reading way too much into that statement. My point was that I'm not convinced either way, and so I'm not going to let that determine my vote. If it came out,
I think it's obviously the case that we should give more credence to the lady that held a consistent story and held her rapist liable. If that can get us to move on, then yeah, I'll concede we should give more credence to E. Jean Carroll over Tara Reid, but I'm still not 100% convinced. Now, can we move on? Wait, how can you be 100% convinced about anything? Like, even in criminal courts, we particularly operate off of an evidentiary standard of what is likely to occur beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt, not 100% certainty. So, like, Jeffrey Dahmer's guilt was determined by a jury in a criminal court that was below a threshold of 100% certainty. Would you say that Jeffrey Dahmer was a serial killer?
Again, he met a higher threshold of proof, but
not a 100% certainty threshold.
Beyond a reasonable doubt. So, yeah, beyond a reasonable doubt, if Trump's convicted, then sure, I will not vote for him.
So do you accept his 34 felonies?
Do I accept them? What do you mean, do I accept them?
Do you think he committed his 34 felonies? Do you think he was guilty there?
I mean, whether or not he did them, I think there's enough evidence to suggest that there were some nefarious actions there. Are they gonna wait?
Did he commit his 34 felonies? Yes or no?
How can I answer that? I believe he did. If that's what you're asking, I can't say he did. I believe he did. So I don't. Is that what you're asking?
Okay, so you do think that he committed the 34 felonies?
Yeah, but those aren't going to be the determining factor in my vote. If that's what you're trying to get at.
Okay, so I have a question, right? Would you say that we should like deport undocumented migrants that commit felonies?
Dude, I don't have a dog in the illegal immigrant fight. I've lived 2 years amongst illegal immigrants and served them, so I'm not.
Okay, so then would you disagree with like Trump and Vance's campaign of just demonizing undocumented migrants, dehumanizing them, and like using them as their scapegoat for like their campaign? That's like one of their main campaigning talking points is the dehumanization and demonization of undocumented migrants.
Dude, like 20 minutes ago, you were just bragging about how crossings are lower under Biden and Kamala. Are you like flip-flopping or what?
It's called an internal critique. So if an individual would hold to the claim that there's currently a crisis at the southern border, well, it is the case that there's less crossings now than there was at the end of Trump's term.
Again, I don't have a dog. I personally don't care. I mean, I think there should be a path for them to come illegal, or excuse me, to come over legally and get residence. That should be easier for them for sure. Should the ones that are here being productive in society be deported? I don't believe so. But again, that's not a policy that that's not going to determine my vote. Again, I look at what's going to benefit my kids, my household, and from what I've seen, the Trump regime took better care of federal employees. The tax cuts benefited us more than anything that Biden and Harris have proposed. And, as long as there's not anything that is going to outweigh those, then that's what I'm basing my vote on.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of feel like I've already responded to this point. I don't think that the Trump administration took better care of federal employees. I think that we saw greater levels of inflation that outpaced what was practically possible for pay increases of federal employees.
How can you say that when the amount they've given to Ukraine is far more than what would have been required to accommodate raises commensurate with inflation?
Do you know what the Budapest Memorandum is?
Nope.
So that was an agreement that we signed with Ukraine in 1994.
Oh, where they get rid of they don't have nuclear weapons, then we pay them, right? But I don't care. That money could have gone to federal workforce. But dude, this is the largest workforce in the country. You're going to tell me you can't even pay them commensurate with inflation?
Well, what I'm particularly saying here is, would we expect the same outcomes, proportionately speaking, under Trump's presidency if we had like a 9%?
I mean, based on what we saw, the raises that he proposed were more or less in line with inflation. So
yeah, but the question that I'm particularly asking you is, do you think that you could expect with good reason that if it was the case that we had experienced like high rates of inflation, as like we saw at the peak of the pandemic with 9% under Trump's
the question you're raising is a hypothesis. The question you're raising is a hypothesis contrary to fact. It's a logical fallacy.
So what logical fallacy would I be committing there with my question?
Hypothesis contrary to fact. Trump wasn't in office during the hyperinflation, so there's no way to know what would have been. All I know is what was, which was we were getting pay raises commensurate with inflation.
Yeah, but my counterclaim here is that if it was the case that Biden was in office during Trump's term, how would we know that he would have operated any differently?
Again, that's hypothesis contrary to fact. There is no fact to go off of. I'm not going to hypothesize. It's a logical fallacy. There's no resolution to be reached from exploring those hypotheses.
Wait, the particular reason why this would be valuable for us to consider here is essentially the question that I'm raising is I don't think that this would give you reason to vote for Trump over Biden for the reason that it is the case that we've experienced higher levels of inflation during Biden's presidency than we experienced under Trump's presidency. So what kind of expectation would be able to place on Biden relative to the 9% inflation caused by the pandemic that we saw to have very similar proportional increases within the pay of federal employees due to the higher rates of inflation? And I'm demonstrating this point not through a logical fallacy, but rather by relaying the message. If we were to experience the same levels of inflation given Trump's presidency, would we have experienced the same proportional gains in the pay of federal employees? And another point here is you said, well, we could have just reallocated the money that we sent to Ukraine to the pay of federal employees and proportionately accounted for inflation. However, this is inherently anti-American, as it is the case that we had a contractual agreement with Ukraine to respect. And if it was the case that we didn't send money to Ukraine, if it was the case that we didn't fund them, well, all of a sudden, how can we place an expectation on countries like Iran or North Korea to even entertain the idea of a denuclearization agreement with the U.S. when we have absolutely disrespected, like denuclearization agreements that we made with other countries in the past, right? It puts American citizens at a higher level of risk because we are less likely or less able to denuclearize other countries.
Yeah, man, as I've already explained, I look out for my household, my kids, my wife, and policies.
So then you should care about the Budapest Memorandum. That is looking out for your household. That is you looking out for your kids. That is you looking out for your wife.
I disagree. You're entitled to that opinion. I disagree, but
wait. So would you say that would you say that the denuclearization of other countries would make American citizens safer?
I don't think that the money going to Ukraine right now
That's
is
not the question that I asked you, was it?
Yes, we're safer because. Yes.
Okay, so you would agree so you would agree that the denuclearization of other countries would make American citizens safer. Would you say that disrespecting and disavowing the Budapest Memorandum that we had signed with Ukraine in '94 would decrease our ability to denuclearize other countries?
No, because what you're implying is that if we were not to give the funding to Ukraine, that they would go out and buy nuclear weapons, which is, sorry, dude, it's not going to happen.
No, that's not the implication. What the implication is, if we were to detract and just disavow the denuclearization agreement that we signed with them, we wouldn't be able to have an expectation for other countries that may want to entertain negotiations with us for denuclearization agreements, as we've just not uphold and respected the end of denuclearization agreements that we signed with other countries. So once again, now that we have understood what my implication here is, would you agree that disrespecting the denuclearization agreement and not upholding our end of a contractual deal that we made for the denuclearization agreement of one country would disincentivize other countries of even entertaining conversations with us about denuclearization agreements?
Okay, are you familiar with the goalpost fallacy?
I'm not shifting the goalpost. This is my
because your original question that I responded to was where would the money have come from to increase the federal employees' salaries commensurate with inflation, and I gave you the answer, and then all of a sudden you have to move the goalpost to explain why that answer is not adequate. That's the goalpost fallacy.
Okay, so I mean, I just don't think that you're going to be familiar with logical fallacies. So particularly what the shift of a goalpost would be is if I were to like have you answer a question or like adequately address my argument, and then I say, well, okay, now you have this new goalpost to shift to, even though you adequately addressed it, to make it seem like you didn't adequately address it. However, it's not me making you seem like you didn't adequately address my question. I am telling you the reason why it would be bad for the American people to take the money that we spent on Ukraine and put it towards funding of federal employees is specifically because this would put American citizens at risk, at higher levels of risk, including you, your wife, as well as your children, right? Because disrespecting a denuclearization agreement that we signed with Ukraine in 1994 tells other countries around the world that if we enter into a denuclearization agreement with them too, that we would be at a lower propensity to uphold our end of the deal. And you already agreed with me on the base that and you already agreed with me on the base that denuclearization of other countries makes American citizens safer. And if this would make them less likely to denuclearize, all that you're telling me here is that by voting for Trump and stopping the support of Ukraine, you are putting you, your wife, and your children in harm's way because we're less likely and we're less able to denuclearize other countries.
I understand the logic, man. I think it's a stretch, so I don't really have much more to say on that. But hey, you said a couple of days ago that inflation has gone down under Biden. I'm not quite. What metric are you using to make that claim?
Yeah. I don't know, information from the feds. I was particularly referencing a decrease of inflation from the 9% we saw to the 3% we have now.
Okay, you understand inflation is an index, right? So going from 9 to 3 just means it's rising slower. It doesn't mean it's gone down. Like everything that's gone up in price has still maintained that price increase and then some.
Yeah, so when I say that inflation has gone... So I'm not when I say that inflation has gone down, I'm not referencing the price of goods, as I recognize that inflation is the increase in which the pricings of good, how fast the pricing of a good would increase, right, or by what percentile. I'm saying that the inflationary rate has gone down.
Yeah. Okay. That's a rephrase from how you phrased it.
That is not a rephrase from how I said it. When I say inflation has gone down, what do we think about when we're speaking on inflation? When I say inflation is 9%. Everyone understands that what I'm saying is that currently speaking, the pricing of good is increasing by 9% given like a particular time span, right?
Dude, I'm going to be honest.
When I say that inflation has gone down, I'm saying that it's gone from 9% to 3%. Are you really sitting here telling me that I'm wrong in saying that inflation has gone down from 9% and an increase of pricing of goods to 3% and an increasing in pricing of goods?
I appreciate that you're acknowledging that now, but I just got to say 95% of the people that you
Wait, boss, did I say that inflation went down or the pricings of goods went down?
Let me finish my thought, and I will hopefully answer that question if you let me finish my thought.
No, just answer it real quick, please.
I have to answer with a thought.
No, okay, did I say that inflation went down, or did I say that the prices of goods has went down?
You said inflation went down, which it hasn't.
Yeah, not the pricings of good, and inflation has gone down. It's went from 9% to 3%.
Inflation going down would imply deflation. That's not what's happening. It's rising more slowly.
No, inflation going down doesn't imply deflation when I'm referring to the rate of inflation.
Okay, let me give you my thought, and then you can rebut however you please. So 95% of the people you bring on here, I will concede, are the biggest idiots on planet Earth. I don't know how these people are alive, to be honest, okay? And so I feel like you take advantage of these people that, you know, they come on and say, oh, you know, inflation's so much worse under Biden, so it must be Biden's fault. And then you come in and say, well, actually, inflation's lower under Biden. And then they go, oh, well, now that you say that, man, it makes sense. And so I feel like you take advantage of the ignorance of 95% of the population, at least 95% of the TikTok population. So you come back with the claim that, oh, inflation's gone down. And in their mind, and forgive me if I am wrong, but I feel like you are, in your mind, trying to make them believe that stuff is actually cheaper than it is, or than it was, because it absolutely is not.
So, no. Inflation is the rate of change of the pricing of goods. When I say that inflation has gone down, I'm particularly referencing.
How are you defining inflation? Inflation isn't a rate.
Do you want to interrupt me?
Yeah, no, go for it. I'm sorry.
When I say that inflation has gone down, I'm referencing the rate of change and the increase of the pricing of goods. Right? We have dropped from a 9% inflationary rate to a 3% inflationary rate.
Okay, as long as we
want to assume
I just want to
anything
make
else,
sure we're clear on that, because the way
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What? So like, and then when you just like say other things like, "Oh, I'm just taking advantage of them. I want to make them think that the pricing of goods has gone down." Well, I mean, you're just assuming a fringe conspiracy theory to like essentially gaslight me. Like, no, like that's essentially what you're doing. Like, do you have like any reason to assume that this is the case, or are you just assuming this on the basis of like trivial evidence and your own thoughts and feelings?
No, I just made an observation. That's what I said, man. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but that was my observation. I feel like dude, and I'll be the first one to say a lot of these Trump supporters that are coming on here are stupid, okay?
Yeah, so I have a question. So why would you say that your observation on the basis of no facts but feelings is sufficient evidence for you to believe that I am trying to convince people that deflation has occurred, but then a court ruling from 9 jurors over the course of 2 years of deliberation isn't sufficient evidence to conclude that Trump is a rapist?
Oh, dude, I already conceded that I might be wrong. I just said that was my observation. So if I'm wrong, I fully apologize. That was just what it looked like. And so if that's not what you're trying to do, I totally apologize. That's just what it looked like. And so...
Yeah, because if I wanted to relay that the pricing of goods has gone down, I would just say that the prices of goods has decreased, right? Like me saying that inflation has decreased, right, would definitely hold less weight than me saying that the pricing of groceries has decreased. So of course, if I wanted to reference the specific pricing of goods, I would say that because that terminology, that wording just simply holds more weight. Like when I say inflation has gone down, well, I mean, people may not necessarily understand what inflation is, know what it is with the message that I'm trying to relay in. So if I wanted to specifically relay the message that the pricing of goods at the grocery stores decrease, I'd simply say that, yeah, your meat costs less now because of Biden. But no, that's not true. Just the rate of change of the pricings of goods has decreased. So of course, when I reference inflation, I'm speaking on the rate of this rate of change, right? Not the price
hey,
of goods.
I appreciate the explanation. I'm glad you cleared that up for me, because that just wasn't my observation. But if I'm wrong, then hey, I'll be the first one to own that.
Yeah, well, I mean, do you have anything else to go over here before I move on to my next guest?
Not really, man. I appreciate you. Keep fighting the good work, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you as well. If you ever want to come back up, feel free to request. You are one of the more intelligent Trump supporters. So enjoyable intellectual conversation.
All right, thanks, man. Hey, have a good one.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to our next guest now. But before we do, Gal, I'm actually quite surprised. I held my head over water with the fucking tax analyst from the IRS. No, I did good. Everyone's spamming WBoss. Y'all don't know what the hell you're talking about. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Let's go to see what our next guest has to say, y'all. So everyone just do give us a minute, y'all. I do have a couple donations to kind of go over here. So everyone just kind of give us a minute. What's up, man? How old are you?
22.
Yeah. So you said that he cooked me. What was his main point?
What'd you say? Sorry.
Yeah, you said boss cooked me. What was his main point? Maybe like, he had to leave so you could just finish it off. I want you to go ahead and continue his argument for me because I was enjoying the conversation.
I think he did pretty good. I think he had some good points. I think they were honestly like...
Yeah. Can you continue his argument for me? Because like you said he won. I want to continue to have that same level of like intellectual conversation here. So why are you voting for Trump over Biden?
So I just think based off observation, I think it's pretty much clear. Like anybody can see that shit was cheaper. Sorry, my bad. Everything was cheaper. Prices of housing were down. Like inflation, I know supply and chain, COVID has a big...
Bro, you were literally spamming WBoss and this guy called you an idiot. You understand that he was sitting on the live saying, everyone who's coming up here saying, oh, she was cheaper, better economy. Bro, he called you an idiot. Bro, Jesus Christ.
Why don't you just let me speak? You asked me a question, now I'm answering.
Yeah, go for it.
So I think housing's cheaper. I think the rates, interest rates, were not as high.
Who controls the interest rates?
I just think as a business standpoint and as a number standpoint and as financially standpoint, you guys took credit as Joe Biden made gas prices go down. You guys took credit on that, but you won't take credit on the prices of everything going up.
Who controls the interest rates?
Mortgage lenders, creditors, and other people.
The feds do. Do you know why we have high interest rates right now?
That's not true. When you go to a car, and when you go buy a car at a car dealership, they control your interest rate.
Right.
There's a minimum and maximum, regulated.
Yeah, and who sets those regulations on the minimum and maximum?
Well, the government, just so you don't.
The feds, right? And why do we have higher interest rates right now?
I mean, there's a limit, of course. You can't have a 50% interest rate.
And why do we have higher interest rates right now?
Because everything's expensive. No one can afford anything.
So actually, yes, we have higher interest rates because of inflation, right? And particularly what the goal of setting higher interest rates is to decrease consumer spending, in turn, which decreases inflation. Right? So it's not that the Biden-Harris administration caused higher interest rates through bad policy or executive orders, but this is a response from the Fed that is unrelated to the presidency to decrease consumer spending, to decrease our rate of inflation. Right? And another point here, you're referencing the price of gas, you're referencing like the price of goods. So how particularly, like what policy or executive order did the Biden-Harris administration influence to get passed that caused inflation to increase?
The pipeline to be closed down.
Okay. So what pipeline?
The Nord Stream.
Okay, so it's called the Keystone XL. Okay, and the Keystone
Nord Stream's been blown up as well.
Been blowing up?
Yeah, in the ocean. There's been a pipeline that's been blown up. Nord Stream 2. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's across Germany. We like to depend and buy oil from Germany and Saudi Arabia when we were 100%.
So Joe Biden blew up a pipeline in Germany?
No, my bad. There's conspiracy theories about America or whoever had some part of ownership of the blowing up of. Anyways, it was blown up. I didn't say.
Can you give me any evidence for this?
Blew it up. Huh?
Well, I mean, I asked you how the Biden-Harris administration caused inflation, and then you referenced a pipeline blowing up.
I was going off a little track there. Keystone Pipeline, not North Pipeline.
Yeah, real quick, I gotta thank a couple people for the donations. First of all, Kate, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Kate. Let's get some WKates in that chat. Bianca, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. Brenda, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. Ariel, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. And Gerald, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some massive W Geralds in that chat. Janice, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo. That is so kind of you. Donna, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. And Peach with $1, Tyler with $1, Dylan with $1. Thank you guys so much for the love. Massive W's for our donors. And Robert, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for the baby dragon. I appreciate you so much for the love. Massive W Roberts in that chat. And then I got a couple other people on PayPal to thank here. So do just give me 1 minute, y'all. Massive W donors, y'all. Massive W donors. Yes, Sean, thank you so much for the $5 on PayPal. I appreciate you for the love. Aisha with a $15 on PayPal. Thank you. And Christina with a $20 on PayPal. Chelsea with a $20 on PayPal. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you guys. Thank you. And yeah, thank you all. Thank you all. W donors in the chat. Thank you guys so much. So yeah, when you're referencing the Keystone XL pipeline and like the Biden-Harris administration shutting this down, and this is what caused inflation. So first of all, it was shut down because of a court order. And then second of all, it wasn't currently producing oil. So when it was shut down, the supply curve of oil wasn't impacted. So it couldn't have driven the pricing of oil up.
And so what is the good reasoning of depending on other countries for oil or buying other countries rather than sourcing more oil than what we have now here in the United States?
So I mean, the good reason
make more sense to keep jobs here in America and keep the oil producing here.
Wait, you understand that we're producing more oil now than
we are? Yeah, we are. But we were producing way more oil than what we are now. Then why is prices of gas so expensive? Why is prices of diesel so expensive? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it does, because we predominantly rely on imports.
Yeah. Why are we relying on imports? Why are we relying
because it costs less money.
Oils? When we can create jobs and create opportunities for Americans who live here.
Wait, you understand?
Reside here.
Wait, so
I mean, is that not better for the country, for us?
Right. So I mean, first of all, like you're overwhelming.
Even though it may be a little bit cheaper.
Hey, Dracula, do you mind if I talk?
It's okay. Go ahead. My bad.
So I mean, your overwhelming argument here would apply to both Biden and Trump, because we understand that we've always predominantly relied on imports for our oil. But it's also the case that it would apply more to Trump than Biden, because under Biden's administration, the U.S. is currently producing more oil than any country that has ever existed in the world. And if you're just asking the general question, like, why do we rely on imports more than what we produce here at home in America? It's because it costs less money. Like, if we predominantly relied on what we produce here, gas prices would increase.
Right.
So it's like, how can you say that, like, a fault of the Biden-Harris administration is increasing gas prices when that just never happened, but then in your next breath argue for an increase in gas prices?
Why did a lot of people take credit for when prices were going down? And why did a lot of people take credit saying Biden was doing a great job in making prices go down and making gas prices go down? But now that it's up again, it seems like it's not his fault again, or not the president's fault.
I mean, I don't think that we could particularly attribute all credit to the decrease in the price of gasoline or goods to Biden. I think that we could definitely attribute some. Like, the U.S. had one of the quickest global rebounds from the pandemic out of any country in the G7 because of the Biden-Harris administration doing things like approving 50% more drilling permits on our land here at home in America, or, like, you know, investing millions of dollars in long-term inflation decrease through, like, the Inflation Reduction Act, which is just investing money in renewable energy resources, or, like, the Infrastructure Act, investing $1 trillion in infrastructure here at home, generating new American jobs, or the Chips and Science Act that particularly is going to bring 20% of global chip production here at home in America in 2030 when we're currently producing 0%.
So the idea of importing it, I understand both sides, but don't you understand kind of the side of why wouldn't you not want to import more and want to keep it domestic and keep more jobs here for Americans, the ones that are actually working to pay the taxes, the ones that are actually contributing to the taxes, the ones
you understand that Biden has generated more jobs for people in the oil and gas industry than any president ever.
But we're putting money into terrorist groups and giving money into other countries that put money into terrorist groups and put money into, you know, who knows what, and we can just
okay,
keep
I mean, first of all, crazy fucking pivot. It's insane that you're going to go from talking about the domestic oil and gas industry.
Yeah, you're buying.
Wait, 1 second. Just stop interrupting me. You're saying you're going from the domestic oil and gas industry to talking about funding terrorism? What are you yapping about? You have to unmute your mic, sir. Sir, click on your profile picture and click the icon of the mic.
My bad. Why would we keep buying imported oil when, yes, it's cheaper. It's an easier option. It's cheaper, but why wouldn't we keep the jobs here for Americans here at home? The ones that pay taxes, the ones that contribute, the ones that want stuff cheaper, the ones that want to buy a house.
Okay. Hey, buddy. I've answered this question 3 times.
But you haven't, though.
So I have. I will answer it a 4th time, but can you just listen this time?
Can I ask you a question, a simple question, real quick?
You just asked one.
Go ahead.
I want
Give your question.
to respond to that one.
Okay.
So I'll answer it a 4th time, but actually listen. Are you ready? Amazing. So the reason that we predominantly rely on imports for oil is because it costs
cheaper.
Hey, buddy.
Yes, they're cheaper.
Listen, let me speak. It's because it is cheaper.
Yes.
Let me speak. What are we doing? I mean, wow. You know, sometimes on this live, I actually feel like a babysitter. When I ask you
what you're saying,
to just let me finish my statements without interruption, does this mean that you should interrupt me? Or does this mean...
I'm not interrupting. I'm just agreeing. I'm just saying yes. Go ahead.
So you sound like my ex-girlfriend from freshman year of high school when you say that you're not interrupting. You just interrupted me.
It's not that deep. Just keep going.
As long as you could agree to let me speak, I have no problem in having a two-way conversation here.
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. Keep going.
So the reason that we predominantly rely on imports for oil is because it costs less money to import it. However, this is like super irrelevant, like your question here. Why do we just not increase our domestic oil production and predominantly rely upon that? The reason that's super irrelevant to your vote for Trump is because Biden has approved more drilling permits for oil here at home in America than Trump. We're producing more oil than we did under Trump. We're producing more oil than any country ever, quite frankly. And then secondly, this is uncontested economic policy between Kamala, Trump, any president ever. The ultimate aim of any president that we've ever had isn't to shift away from the predominant reliance on import for oil. That is something that is agreed upon between Kamala and Trump. That is something that's agreed upon, like all politicians, Republican. That's like the most bipartisan issue ever. So if you take issue with the way that we run that, you're not giving me any reason insofar as why you're voting for Trump over Kamala. That's just the way things are done, and that's just the way that people agree on it. Because at the end of the day, I think that the aim of like American politics as it stand, left or right, is to increase the amount of jobs held by individuals here at home in America by like allowing people to drill for oil, i.e. the Biden-Harris administration allowing more drilling permits to be approved than the Trump administration, while also trying to keep the price of gasoline low for the American consumer by predominantly relying on imports. And that's the way it's done. It's the way it's always been done. And it's the way it always will be done, regardless if we have a Republican or Democrat in office.
Okay. And do you think that's worked so far?
Yeah, I think that it's the only way to do it.
Do you think that? Okay. And then, so like, I guess you kind of answered that a little bit, but just the part where, why? So you said predominantly you approved, they approved more drilling or whatever in the United States domestically, and then they want to prominently depend on imported goods to keep prices down. But why wouldn't we just cut out imports and keep American jobs here?
Because cutting out imports is inflationary as fuck. I mean, supply...
I'm not cutting out imports 100%.
I'm so sorry. Well, because we'll have the same domestic demand
I guess I should have
with
been...
an incredibly decreased supply, which will increase prices. I mean, this is like the very basics of like macroeconomics. You have a supply curve, you have a demand curve. Okay, we're going to keep the same domestic demand for every good. What happens when we cut out imports is the supply decreases, but we hold the same demand. So what happens when supply decreases with the same demand? What happens?
I don't understand why we're going off supply and demand. I was just saying that
because when we cut out imports, what happens to the supply curve?
We drill here, independent, 100% American.
When we cut off imports, what happens to the supply of a good?
I'm talking about oil imports. I said oil imports.
Yes. What happens when we cut off the imports of oil? What happens to our supply?
It goes nothing because we have to drill it here.
Oh, dear God. It goes down.
We were 100%.
It goes down.
100% oil dug here.
Dude, you understand that like you're not just debating against me, you're also debating against Trump, Kamala, every other politician, and every economist ever. Like when you have less supply with the same demand,
you're gonna have the same supply. You're gonna be drilling it here in America.
So, sir, we wouldn't have the same supply.
We do. We were pumping more oil than we've ever had before.
Yeah, but do you think that we could cut off global imports of
what do you
oil
mean?
and then just start producing the same amount of oil as the rest of the world?
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
like literally, that'd be the only way to maintain the same supply if we were to cut off all oil, like all potential oil imports from the rest of the world. In order for us to keep that same supply, what will we have to do? We'll literally, here at home in the U.S., have to produce the same amount of oil that the rest of the world is in order to hold the same prices.
That's not true at all. We were
because if we don't, then we'd see it. That is true because if we're not producing the same amount of oil,
independent, we didn't have to buy any imported oil, so that creates more jobs for Americans here at home. It does, but okay. I guess we could switch to another.
Hey, chat. Should we just skip this guy? Like this guy's just not with it.
I just feel like you're pivoting and not answering the questions.
I've answered every single one.
You've said supply and demand, but you're not.
Because that's the answer. You're like you literally understand.
Keep American jobs here and stop spending.
You literally understand that that's. Do you literally understand that that's why we don't cut off global imports is because it would drive prices up. That's inflationary.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you disagree with that?
I say what?
Do you think that cutting off global imports would be inflationary?
A lot of global imports, or what type of global imports? What are we talking about?
Like oil specifically.
Do I think cutting it off right now completely would?
Seth with a Leon the Kitten. Holy shit. Thank you so much for the love, Seth. That is crazy. Thank you so much for the love. Let's get some WSS in the comment section for the Leon the Kitten. Thank you so much for the love, Seth. That is craziness. Thank you so much. Also, Stephanie, thank you for the $10 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love. And Alyssa, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. Thank you so much. Alyssa says for spreading the good word. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Kate, thank you for the $10. Thank you guys so much.
Do you want to switch topics?
I'm just gonna kick you. I appreciate you for the massage, guys. I want like an actual conversation here. I'm like getting like really annoyed with these conversations. I'm so sorry. Like, if you can't understand that cutting off all global imports would cause inflation, we're just gonna move on. All right, we're moving on to our next guest, guys. If you're MAGA, let me know in the chat. I may have to do a restart on this stream, but that is yet to be determined. Dude, no way. There's people in the chat saying Dean got owned. Trump got owned. Are you kidding me? If that guy walked up to Trump and said the same thing, Trump would give this like a worse response than I did. Like, yeah, me and Trump agree on that point. Like, I want everyone to understand, everyone that's watching the live, that last debate that I had with that last guy, me and Trump agree on, alongside Kamala, alongside every politician and economist ever. What's up, Aaron? How old are you?
25, man.
Awesome. Are you driving?
I'm not, man.
Okay, yeah. Are you voting for Trump? And Maya, thank you for the glowing jellyfish.
I definitely am voting for Trump.
Okay, I mean, I understand that you're in a car.
Yeah. I'm riding in a car. I'm not driving though, brother.
Could you have the driver say hi real quick?
What's up, man?
Oh, fucking hell. You were actually not driving. You were the first person to be honest about that. Good job. Okay. Plus one for Aaron. So, yeah, why are you voting for Trump?
Well, it's mainly because I'm not a bought-out DNC puppet like you, Parker, and Harry.
Okay, so you're not voting. So you're voting for Trump because you're delusional?
No, it's because I'm not a puppet.
Why do you think I'm paid for by the DNC?
The company that you're working for has literally got flooded with $200,000 by the DNC.
What company am I working for?
You tell me. What's the name of it?
I'm not working for any company.
Don't you lie to me now. I know you're working with Harry and Parker and all them, and it's with that media company or whatever it is.
What?
But
I'm not. I don't.
Flooded.
I don't have a
flooded money by the DNC. You got flooded money by the DNC. You are bought and paid for. You have literally studied a script and you have went over it so many times, and that's why you repeat the same topics.
So, I'm still waiting for evidence that I'm paid for by the DNC, Aaron. I don't have a management company. I'm freelance. No one manages what I do but me. You're going to be referencing Palette Media. I don't work with Palette. I don't work for Palette. You know, I did try to get an interview with them maybe like 9 months ago. I didn't. Crazy. Oh, he left. Christina, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo from the DNC. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much. Holy crap. Let's get some W Christinas for the $10 in the DNC. Let's also get some W DNCs down below as well. Thank you so much. Amazing. And then also, Ryan, thank you so much for the $5 from the DNC. Let's go. Thank you so much. What's up, Bree? How old are you?
I'm 33.
Amazing. Are you voting for Trump?
Yes, I am.
Do you think I'm paid for by the DNC?
Actually, I don't know, but
Audrey, thank you for the $6 on Venmo from the DNC. Thank you so much for the love, Audrey, and the DNC. Continue.
I'm glad that you actually answered, right? And I want to come here and I want to talk about logic. I don't care about no statistics. I want to talk about logic, right? So one thing that you stated earlier in this conversation, right, was that Trump's opinion on the Central Five, right? I'm a black woman, right? And when I first heard that, I didn't like it, right? But why would I vote for a prosecutor who's actually done those crimes? That was Trump's opinion, right? That was his opinion versus someone who actually sat in office and made those crimes. Why would I possibly vote for her?
Wait, so what specifically, like what crimes are you referencing?
Okay, let me go back. Okay?
Yo, Carrie, thank you so much for the $50 on PayPal from the DNC. Holy shit. Thank you so much for the love, Carrie. Let's get some massive W carries in the chat for the $50 on PayPal from the DNC. Yo, let's get at least 100 W carries and at least 100 W DNCs. Thank you so much. So what particular crimes of Kamala's are you going to be referencing?
Okay. First off, I know you're going to click me off, right? I am referencing the fact that you said, right? No.
Oh, don't say the names of any drugs and I won't click you off.
No, I'm not saying anything about anything to do with drugs, okay? I'm talking about solely, right, off of logic right now, but I sat here for like an hour and some change and I listened to your arguments, right? Every time that you want to pin this guy up to be a bad guy, you get people you ruffle people's feathers up, right? So one thing that
he's a bad guy. He's a rapist. He's a narcissist.
Okay.
He's a racist.
Okay.
He's a misogynist.
Okay.
Yeah, he's all these things.
Okay. You said you brought up his opinion about the Central Five, right? Why would I vote Kamala in, right? When she literally withheld evidence, kept people, over-sentenced people, sent people to, got priests off that raped hundreds of boys, right? Why would I vote her if you're gonna bring up his opinion on the Central Five? It was an opinion. The media pushed that these boys did a crime that they didn't do.
Is it acceptable for me to ask you for evidence for the shit that's spewing out of your mouth?
Yes. But how am I going to give you evidence? Yes, I have evidence. I have everything inside my phone. How would I be able to show this to you?
By telling me what to look up on the internet?
Okay, yes. Well, you go and you look up this person that sat there in jail for 6 years for a crime that he did not commit. The only time that he ever seen Kamala, right, was the day that they came to sentence him, okay? There's also evidence of little men, that's grown men that were boys at the time who got touched and he let the priest off. She let the priest off.
Can you give me any evidence of that? I think you're
can.
lying.
So I'm lying? Why would I have to lie?
Because I think what you're saying right now is like misinformation, isn't it?
It's not misinformation, okay? I posted on my Instagram all day. I watched it from the time she was running against Biden and moving forward, right?
So I mean, I just want to clarify on a couple things here. So let's just go through it. So first of all, when you're particularly referring to like the individual on death row, so she didn't withhold DNA evidence. She actually pushed for it, and then guess what? He got DNA evidence.
The Supreme Court the Supreme Court had to push for her to give the evidence, and he actually got set free, and he would have been sentenced to death. Okay.
How much do you want to bet on that?
I could bet everything on it, bro.
Name an amount.
Whatever.
Kari, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love. Let's get some W Karis in that comment section. Thank you for the $20. So yeah, no, he wasn't set free. He was actually given DNA testing. He's guilty. He's actually still on death row today.
No.
So how much do you want to bet? Like $100? $200?
All right, listen. Okay.
How much money do you want to bet?
Listen. I have proof of someone who's.
How much money do you want to bet that guy was not put off death row?
Listen. I have proof, right, of someone who did 6 years that has a news report. He sat down in an interview.
I want to, before we pivot to other things that you think she's done, I specifically want to talk.
I mentioned this to you when I first opened my book, right? This is what you do. You bounce, right? Answer the one question. She has all these accusations behind her. She sat in office and she's done these things. Why is it that we're going to forgive her now, but we're going to crucify somebody on their opinion?
Okay, well, thank you for allowing me to speak. So here's what I'm telling you, as well as the other 5.7 thousand people watching. I'm telling you, like, the points that you're bringing up of these things that you think Kamala's done, they're all like false, right? And like I'm like so confident that it's misinformation that I want to like wager you money. I want to put my money where your mouth is. I want to ask you to put your money where your mouth is. So you particularly made the claim.
Okay.
That one second, just let me finish, please. So you particularly made the claim that she withheld DNA testing from a man on death row.
I never said DNA testing. I never said DNA testing. I said she withheld evidence. I didn't say DNA testing.
Okay, I mean you did, but whatever.
I did not.
And then you said when ultimately speaking, when the DNA testing was withheld, that he was proven innocent and let off death row. So the particular case that you're referencing here, it was a man on death row that was guilty. Then he had DNA testing done. He was not exonerated, and he's still on death row today.
All right, so now talk about the Catholic priest.
Okay, so pivot.
Now talk about. No, I'm not pivoting. Okay, I'm not 100% sure on that actual topic, right? But I've actually watched news interviews of someone who lost 6 years out of their life, right, for nothing, and she done it. Now you can go look at black judges like Judge Mathis, right, who's Everyone that was in office known.
So
She's
what?
known
So this
for
person that
locking a
lost.
brother up. She's
So the
known
cops.
for locking a brother up, bro. She's known for it.
So the cops. Sorry. So particularly the Catholic priests. So what year did she let a rapist Catholic priest go? What year was that?
I don't know what year it was, bro.
What was the name
No,
of the Catholic
because I don't know
priest?
what year it was. That means that it didn't happen.
What was the name of the Catholic priest?
All right. How do we back out and pull up pictures and all those things? How do we? Because when you get off of
Yo,
there,
Blue, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Blue. Let's get some W Blues in that chat for the $20 from the DNC. Thank you, Blue, and thank you for the DNC. You're deluded.
let's move on.
Okay, let's move on to the fact. Let's move on to the fact that Trump. Let's move on to the fact that Trump is a proven rapist, a felon, an election denier. He's a misogynistic pig that has infringed upon the rights of all 170.
These things? When did he become these things?
Well, he became a racist in 1973 when he particularly didn't rent out his housing units to individuals that weren't white, put a C on their housing applications, and denied them because of the color of their skin. And he was particularly held accountable for this by a federal court where he had to make a statement that he wouldn't be racially prejudiced within his housing selections, as well as the Central Park Five for racism. When we're talking about for particular misogyny, well, we can reference the fact that he said he wanted to date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, sexualization of a young girl. We could reference that he boasted about grabbing women without consent by the P word. He didn't even have to ask first. We could reference the fact that he boasted about walking into the change room of half-naked teen girls at Miss Teen USA because he could have owned the place, right? As well as there being half-naked girls as young as 15 there. We could reference the fact that he was literally held civilly liable, convicted to be.
Are you done?
She got restricted, and so did I. No. No. Okay, well, I had a kicker. We got, someone said the name of a DRUG. Yeah, fuck the live, whatever. We're gonna move on to our next guest here. Yeah, we're probably gonna end up hitting a restart. We're probably gonna end up hitting a restart here, y'all. It's alright, we're gonna move on to our next guest. Why did I get restricted? Just by the TikTok algorithm. Unfortunate. If you guys want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio, y'all. Restart now? Yeah, we could just hit a pretty crazy restart, like literally right now, and then just hop right back into things. We're actually just gonna go and do that. So for the 6,000 people in here, we just got restricted by the TikTok algorithm. Like we already seen the viewers decrease. So we just have to hit a little restart on the stream. So everybody just click on my profile. I'll be back, 10 seconds tops. We're going to continue the same debates right here on the same account. Just TikTok is forcing us to restart the stream. So I'll see all you guys in 10 seconds. See you soon. Bye-bye. So we're going to try to stay away from that conversation. But there was another couple things that I wanted to reference here. You were really honing in on Kamala. I'd really like to hone in on Trump here. So first of all, I want to ask you a very simple question. So you're a woman. In Trump's past, he has shown extreme levels of disrespect, violence, and sexualization towards women and girls. A complete and utter disregard towards the thoughts, wants, needs, and desires of women. So how do you expect him to effectively account for them when he's legislating in the Oval Office?
Okay. First of all, those things don't matter to me, okay? What matters to me, right, is our economy being fixed. I live in New York City, okay? No one here, right, especially as a black person, right, we cannot rent anywhere. We can't live anywhere. It's impossible, okay? You're letting in all these migrants, right? These are my problems, okay? What is Kamala's plan? What is the plan? Somebody is literally screaming, black woman and abortions, and I'm supposed to just be like, oh yeah, that fits me. That doesn't fit me. That doesn't fit me.
So first of all, you're asking what Kamala's going to do about the southern border crisis. So yeah, she's already got that done. After Biden's executive order, crossings decreased 55%, putting us at a lower rate of daily crossings today than we had at the end of Trump's presidency.
That's impossible.
And also,
because it's a part of their agenda.
You should blame the crisis at the southern border on Trump. You want to know why?
No, I believe that's a lie because
You want to know? You want to know why?
Biggest.
You want to know why? Because he told you to. He stopped two bipartisan border bills from passing through Congress by calling the Republican lawmakers and telling them to vote against it because he quote unquote didn't want to make the Democrats look good. But another question from me for you right now: how do you feel about Trump appointing 3 justices to the Supreme Court specifically to overturn Roe v.
You've been saying the same thing all over and over and over and over.
I'm asking the questions that are important to me and the questions that should be important to everyone.
I want to ask you questions. Right? I want to ask you questions. Do you not see the crisis that this country is going through? Are you really willing to go through 4 more years of it? Do you
what
not
particular
see it?
crisis?
The particular crisis of people can't survive. The particular crisis that our money is being used on bullshit.
Okay, so if we want to reference, first of all, like how people can't survive, what you're most likely going to be referencing here is like inflation. So I just want to ask you first, can you name the policy or executive order that the Biden-Harris administration influenced to get passed that caused inflation?
That's what I want to know from you. Can you tell me?
Well, they didn't. So this is a correlation causation fallacy. You're essentially, Ella, thank you for the $5 on Venmo, WLA. You're essentially saying because there's high rates of inflation under the Biden-Harris administration that it was caused by them. But this logic could like lead us to the conclusion that like Trump caused the 14.8% unemployment rate at the end of his term. Would you agree with that?
No, I do not agree with that.
But why? It was under his administration. This is the same exact logic that you're using to attribute the high rates of inflation to Biden.
Explain. I do not believe that because we all watched these people throw a pandemic at him. Now you're going to sit here and say that that didn't happen, but as soon as Biden came, the pandemic magically left. Why? Why is Dr. Fauci in court right now for giving out vaccines that people didn't need?
The pandemic magically left?
Yes, it did. It did.
You want to know why? Because of Biden's rapid response. That's why.
No. First of all,
you are so
no. You're trying to feed me the same thing that the media has been feeding.
Do you think that the Democrats caused COVID?
Yes, I do believe that.
Can you give me any evidence for that?
Why is Fauci on trial right now? Why is people dying off of a vaccine?
I don't think he is.
Why?
Okay, none of this is relevant to how Democrats
It is relevant. We watch somebody. Okay, listen. Evidence. Why would you? If this is America and it's freedom of speech, why did Trump get banned from all social media platforms? How is that possible?
Okay,
because
so first of all,
you're
social media.
Listen, you're silencing someone.
Social media. So in the same way I just silence your ability to speak on the live by muting your mic so I could speak, is the same way like private companies like social media platforms can uphold particular like terms of service and ban individuals at their will. Like it's private companies, man. But anyways, how do you feel about Roe v. Wade being overturned? How do you feel about the rights, liberties, freedoms, and access to healthcare of 170 million American women being?
How do you feel about Agenda 47? How do you feel about
I'd like
people?
it if you could answer my question.
I don't have any feelings on that. Can we talk about?
Bree, why don't you have any feelings about access to healthcare of 170 million American women and girls being at risk? Like, you understand this destroys the family unit. It shifts the focus from like adults financially well off that desire to have kids and raise a family to 18, 19, 20-year-old boys and girls being forced into becoming a family because the state is forcing the woman to provide her bodily resources to a fetus that they didn't want for 9 months without their consent. It increases rates of poverty, it decreases levels of education and income, and it decreases overall qualities of life. How can you tell me that you're so concerned about the state of the economy when Roe v. Wade, apart from having rebounding effects for the rights, liberties, and freedoms of women, also has rebounding effects particularly for the economy?
Perfect. It doesn't concern me. Now, what concerns me is somebody fighting for us to not get taxes taken out of our paycheck. If Americans were getting their gross pay on their paychecks, right, it wouldn't matter about inflation right now, right? What is Kamala fighting to fix inflation? That is my biggest concern right now. How is she going to fix it?
They've actually already passed legislation that has. The U.S. has had the quickest global rebound out of any country in the G7 from the global inflation that we saw caused by the pandemic. This was specifically achieved by approving more drilling permits for oil here at home in America. This was specifically achieved through the Inflation Reduction Act by investing money into renewable energy resources to decrease inflation long term. Jennifer, thank you for the $9 on Venmo. Thank you for the love, W Jennifer. As well as like other legislation to bring manufacturing jobs to here back home in America, like the CHIPS and Science Act or the Infrastructure Bill. And then another thing here, you said that Donald Trump is fighting for no taxes. Well, yeah, he wants to replace them with tariffs, which are inflationary as shit, which will ultimately serve as an incredible detriment to the low and middle class. All economists agree on this. It is uncontested and it is fact.
Everybody wins in that situation. The average American would be taking home at least $1,600 to $2,000 extra, which means people would be able to afford apartments again, which means people would be able to shop in the supermarkets again, which means people would be able to afford gas, milk, eggs, everything. Like, I'm lost. You want to sit here and talk about all the bad. Talk about how we can benefit. How can we benefit?
You're right. People are going to be taking home much more money if we don't have a federal income tax. Absolutely. Like, uncontestable fact. But it's about the power of the money that matters here. Because when we get rid of the federal income tax and we just replace that with tariffs on imported goods, well, all of a sudden you are paying much more money for all goods.
Sorry about that. That was a passing cop car, but yeah. I just feel like you're like, Kamala didn't get a vote from everyone to become president. Kamala, okay? And first of all, why is anyone listening to this whole campaign when we had someone who clearly was incoherent for the last 4 years? Who's actually running the country?
Wait, do you think that Biden was too old to run for presidency?
No, I don't think it was about age. I'm thinking about.
Wait, also, Brie, are you driving right now?
No, I'm not.
Okay, go ahead.
Also,
Biden's not running. Like, we understand that.
All right,
Kamala's
no,
running.
but
and
I'm
of course,
talking-
and of course, the prosecutor. Of course, the prosecutor is going to be more coherent than the prosecutor.
Okay, but my whole point is, y'all blindly.
The prosecutor is going to be more coherent than the prosecuted. The non-grapist is going to be more coherent than the grapist. The non-racist is going to be more coherent than the racist. The non-delusional election denier is going to be more coherent than the delusional election denier. The non-misogynist is going to be more coherent than the misogynist. The incredibly intelligent, empowered 59-year-old woman is going to be more intelligent than this 78-year-old piece of shit. What's the conversation?
Okay, listen. The conversation and the question is, why don't you feel a way that someone who was incoherent for the last 4 years ran this country?
Because I'll take a brain dead patient over Donald Trump.
Yeah, and that's the point. Everyone is this campaign is built on hate, and you guys are pushing all this hate, saying that they're hating, but you guys are hating. You guys are hating. You rather someone that's dead over him. That's hate.
Yeah, so like
I
the
don't
reason
fund my life on hate.
So like I want to make it clear, I do hate rapists. I do hate people that try to undermine
so if you hate rapists, right?
I do particularly hate individuals who want to further disenfranchise already marginalized communities. I do hate people who take away vital access to healthcare and rights away from all 170 million American women. Bree, I'm hating a hater.
Okay, listen. So
Donald Trump is the biggest fucking hater known to mankind. He hates our democracy. He hates the American people. He hates women. He hates marginalized communities.
That's a matter
of
of
The only thing
opinion.
he loves is himself and the other rich men in the top of the 1%.
Okay.
If you're not rich, if you're not white, and you're not a man, he doesn't care about you.
You keep cutting me off to the point that I keep forgetting what I have to say. Oh, I remember what I was gonna have to say. Right. So now, right, because we watched the presidential debates when Hillary and Trump went against each other, right? Trump literally exposed all of the people that were selling kids, all the rape,
What the fuck are we? What are you?
No,
dude. This is the most like incoherent gibberish conversation.
No,
I've
it's
ever
not.
had.
It's not. It's not. You just want to push a narrative, and you don't care to actually. You don't care to actually have a conversation where we both exchange information. Okay?
No, I'm listening,
asking,
Bree.
what happened to Epstein's list? Why hasn't that come out?
So actually, Trump was being interviewed. Trump was being.
I'm gonna let you talk. You brought up the fact that he's a rapist, right? Why hasn't hit the list that y'all swear that he's on come out?
Okay, well, I mean, first of all, it's not that y'all swear he's on. He is. He's referenced as DOE.
So why hasn't it come out?
Let me speak. He's referenced as DOE 174 in the Epstein files. All right, there's actually court documents held against Trump that he had allegedly raped, imprisoned, and tortured a 13-year-old girl with Epstein. And also, Epstein's list is out. There's still some documentation from Epstein, from the
Where's the list?
Epstein, well, from the Epstein files. You could look it up on Google. You probably use DuckDuckGo.
The list is not out. The list is not out. It's
It is.
not.
It
If
is.
it was out,
It
if
is.
it was out,
It is.
all those
It
Democrats,
is.
all
It
the
is.
Democrats is on
It
there.
is.
The Democrats are on there.
Can
The
you give me
Demo-
any? Can you give me any sufficient reason to believe that Kamala is a rapist?
I didn't say Kamala was a rapist. I didn't
Okay,
say
so
that.
then why are you voting for the rapist over the non-rapist?
I told you why I was. All right.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I started off by saying she was a prosecutor that hurt the black community. Okay, she hurt.
Okay.
She hurt
So,
them.
I mean-
That cannot be taken back. Okay, there's 1/3 of black Americans walking around with felonies on their records that can't get jobs, that can't provide for their family. That's breaking
Okay.
our homes.
So I mean, so
We
first
have
of all, I just
broken
want
our
to make it very clear that while she was a prosecutor, she only sentenced 42 people for DRUG related charges. Right. It also needs to be pointed out that the race of these individuals has not been reported on. It also needs to be pointed out that she led the cause of the end of the war on DRUGS in the context of the U.S. in 2014, coming out and saying that the use of the M drug should be federally legalized, and even co-signed on a bill while she was a senator in 2018 for the federal legalization of it. Okay, so your claims there are absolute bullshit.
No,
And I think
listen.
it's like incredible that you are going to attribute this harm to Kamala when it is true that Donald Trump led the birther movement against Barack Obama, saying that he wasn't even a natural born US citizen, but was rather from Kenya because of the color of his skin. Tell me, if that birther movement had been successful, if he was able to sway enough votes away from Barack Obama to specifically make sure that he wasn't reelected, well, I guess my question to you would be, how much of a detriment did that serve to the African American community?
Once again, you're pandering my race. I don't care about that. I don't know
No,
where he
no,
was
no, no, no,
born.
no, 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 no.
I don't know where he was born.
You're saying that Kamala is specifically like caused all this harm to the African American community through her 45 sentences for the M drug. First of all, she was a prosecutor. Second of all, we didn't know the race. Third of all, she led the movement on the federal delegalization of the M drug. And then fifth of all, this man proponed the birther movement that Barack Obama was born in Kenya with no sufficient evidence to believe that. He only said that because of the color of his skin. We could also particularly reference the Central Park Five, where he called for the death penalty for those five, even though they had been exonerated for their crimes. We could reference the civil litigation against him in 1973 for not granting equal housing opportunity to white people and black people. Every time a black person would apply to like have housing from him, they'd put a C on their housing applications and deny them because of the color of their skin. He was even held civilly accountable for this. He had a promise, our federal government, that he would not discriminate on the basis of the color of people's skin. And this is public information. Like, I don't even understand what ground you have here. Dominic, thank you for the money guide. But there was one question earlier that I asked you that you literally never answered.
Okay,
Donald
wait.
Trump, I want you to answer this question. Donald Trump has an extremely sexist track record of his treatment towards women. Disrespect, violence, and thank you so much for the boxing gloves. Disrespect, violence, and sexualization. He said he dated a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. He said that he likes to unconsensually grab women by the P word. Boasted about walking into the change rooms of half-naked teen girls at Miss Teen USA because he owned the place. Held civilly liable for rape, etc. So this man has completely disregarded the thoughts, wants, needs, and intentions of women outside of the Oval Office. So how do you expect him to account for them while he's legislating inside of the Oval Office? Answer this very important question.
Okay, I'm going to answer it. And I'm going to answer it how I feel like answering, not how you want me to answer it, okay? How do I feel about it? First of all, Trump is a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. What do we do for fun? We shit talk all the time. Now, let's go back to the statement when he said about grabbing women by the P words, right? First of all, he wasn't president, and anyone knows that women don't do anything for men with money. And that was his context of saying that, okay? You can literally do anything to these women once you have money. That's what he said. That's basically what he meant, okay? Now, like I said, the reason people hate Trump is because of his ability to
Can men
shit
with
talk.
money do anything they want to
Yes,
women?
they can. They shouldn't. Do they act like that? Yes. Yes.
So I just want to make it incredibly clear. When we normalize the use of language, like you could just touch women's vaginas without asking because you're rich, and you just write it off as shit talk, locker room talk, or just saying that it's true. you are causing harm to women. You are a woman.
I'm
yes,
not saying
but
that it
you
was
are a woman.
okay.
Your
What I s-
ideologies, what
no,
you believe
no,
in, and the message that you propose
didn't say it
causes
was
a harm
all-
to all 170 million American women and girls. And that is the truth. You stand against women, point blank, period, if you want to discount and write off the shit that Donald Trump has done in his past. There is absolutely no contending the fact that he is an incredibly sexist, misogynistic man that has been violent to women, raped women, sexualized little girls, disrespected them, and further perpetuated grape culture and systemic misogyny by normalizing language that it's okay to grab women by the P word, and then that even leading to him raping E. Jean Carroll. Under the deposition of the court, she said that he thought that she wanted him back, and that it was some very private fling. She testified that he walked into the change room, threw her up against the wall, started choking her, and started touching her. Okay? And according to her, apparently, he thought that it was some type of thing that they both wanted. He didn't even have to ask first. Okay? And that's what happens when you normalize these statements. That's what happens when you accept and adopt these individuals into your social circles and invite them into the highest ranking position, that being the Oval Office.
Okay.
It just discounts the true harm that is caused to women by these things, and it just further perpetuates it.
All right, you like to bring up all the wrong things that he's done, right? Let's talk about where every rap song had Trump in it when in the 90s, because no one thought he was racist. Trump in the 90s gave loans to black people who couldn't open businesses. Trump funded Jesse Jackson's presidential run 2 times. I don't understand. You, as much as the bad you want to say. And then another thing, and let's talk about it, and I'm being 100% transparent. When a black person makes it to a certain level in their life, right, and they become a landlord, do you think they want to rent to black people? No. So I'm not using race to hurt my feelings. I'm not. This is a live blown fact. I live and I watch my whole neighborhood get taken over by another culture. Why? They don't want to rent to us. My own kind don't want to rent to my own kind. So why am I going to sit here and be mad at him? Tell me. Can you explain that to me? And now let's talk about Joe Biden and how he over-sentenced black people on crack and put crack in our community. Let's talk about.
She said the C drug. I gotta kick her for saying that. She'll get my live restricted again. That was a black woman who stood against the African American community and all 170 million American women and girls that exist in this country. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. If you're in the guest request specifically, make sure that you're voting for Trump. We are just looking for some debates here today. This is why education is important. This is why these lives are important. This is why critical thought is important. This is why social advocacy is important. This is why what I do, what Parker does, what everybody else in this space does, including every single person in here should do, is so important. Education on systemic issues, such as the systemic oppression of women, the systemic oppression of African Americans, as well as other marginalized groups within society, is so important. Why intersectionality is so important. Because we have to fight back against the willfully ignorant. We have to fight back against the lack of education. We have to fight back against the oppression that is upheld and propounded by so many people, including some members of said communities. What's up, Stefan? How old are you? All right, Stefan's not here. We're going to move on. Fuck, bro. Sorry, you answered too late. I'm sorry, man. We're going to move on to our next guest. Y'all, if you are specifically in the guest request, make sure that you are voting for Trump. We are just looking for some debates here today. We're going to move on to our next guest here, y'all. And if you do want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal or my bio, get 100% of the proceeds over these platforms. And Deborah, thank you so much for the galaxy. We're just going to move on to our next guest, y'all. We're going to go and see what our next guest, Tali, has to say. Specifically, make sure we are in the guest request and we are voting for Trump. Also, do double tap away on that phone screen and do share that live, y'all. What's up, DeAndre? How old are you?
Hi, I'm 19.
You're 19. What year are you born in?
2004.
Awesome. Are you voting for Trump?
Yes.
Okay, why so?
Well, I want to touch on what she was saying earlier about Kamala Harris.
Kamala.
Don't kick me. I have to talk to you. I texted you on Instagram a while ago about the rap sheet for Kamala Harris, and I really like your response because what she said earlier was a lot of misinformation about Kamala during
I don't even think that she was voting for Trump. We're gonna move on to our next guest. But yeah, I'll check my DMs on Instagram. I don't think that she was voting for Trump. What's up, Jeff? How old are you?
Old enough. Keep using your script there from the DNC, boy. Getting dog walked by people.
Can you dog walk me, sir?
I've already dog walked you before. You don't remember.
Well, I don't think you have. Do it
I
again.
have.
So why are you voting for Trump? Also, you said a script from the DNC. Do you think that I'm... No, he left. No, he's so scared. No, dude, I swear, I love the crazy MAGA cultists. I love them, I love them, I love them, I love them, I love them. I love to get them on the hook, reel them in, and intellectually destroy them. But they always run away with their tail in between their legs every single time. Oh, damn it, dude. We're gonna go and run them. We're gonna go and move on to our next guest, y'all. They always run away, dude. Yo, Jesus. What's up? How old are you, man?
18.
18. Are you voting for Trump?
Yep.
Why?
Because he's just the better candidate.
Okay. Why?
I mean, what have the Democrats done in this term?
Oh, wait. So, where do you live?
Huh?
Where do you live?
I live in America.
Okay, what state?
Idaho.
Really? What's one country that borders Idaho?
Canada.
Okay. So, yeah. So, what was... Yeah, he left. He left. Oh, wait, country. Sorry, I meant state. What's one state that borders Idaho? I accidentally said country there. He left. I mean, whoops, but yeah, he was not an American citizen. We're gonna go to load up our next guest here, y'all. Everyone just do give us a minute, guys. Everyone just do give us a minute. We're gonna try to get our next guest up in here, y'all. Also, make sure that we're double tapping away on that phone screen. Yeah, dude, the Brits tried to infiltrate the live, ladies and gentlemen. They want their taxes back. They were mad about us putting the T in the C. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Everyone just do give us a minute, guys, if you're voting for Trump. Let me see a MAGA in the chat. Someone in the chat said I assumed that. I did assume that, and I proved it. What's up, Kai? How old are you? All right, Kai, no, come back. I want to debate. No. All right, moving on to our next guest. Moving on to our next guest here, y'all. Everyone just do give us a minute. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Everyone just be patient. While we do load up our next guest. Why am I coming for you, Brits? I love y'all. I'm just making a joke. Hey, what's up? How old are you?
I'm actually 18.
You're 18. What year were you born in?
I just had a statement to say. I'm actually...
Okay. I appreciate you for coming up. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Everyone just do give us a minute. Let's go and see what our next guest, Parker Chandler, has to say. Also, guys, yeah, if you think that I'm paid by the DNC, let me know in the comment section. What's up, Parker? How old are you?
18.
18. Phenomenal. Are you voting for Trump?
Yes, I am.
Okay, why so?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about, I mean, there's a lot of reasons I'm voting for Trump, but one of the things, about an hour ago, you were debating a guy on the oil thing, and you were bringing up a lot of statistics about how America drilled for more oil than anybody else has in history, but we also export right now about 10 million barrels of oil a day, when in the Trump administration, we only exported about 5 million of barrels a day. So
because we were producing less oil.
Not by that much. We kept more.
And we have a deficit, right, that we want to work on it. It's actually advantageous to export. We make money on it. All things considered, this is why Biden sold our reserves at a high and then refilled them at a low. He profited $26 billion for our country.
So how does the U.S. government profit positively affect gas prices for us?
I mean, it doesn't. The point that you brought up has nothing to do with gas prices.
It does, because if we export more oil, we have less oil to give to our citizens. It does directly affect gas prices, actually.
Yeah, we have less domestic oil to give to our citizens. And particularly speaking, domestic oil costs more to refine and put at the pump than imported oil from OPEC.
Not necessarily, because if we already have the oil, then it's free to give to our... If we already have drilled the oil, then it's free to give to our citizens. We just have to put it in there. I mean, we've already drilled the oil. Yes, it might cost money to drill.
It costs more to drill here at home in America because of EPA rules than it does to just import it from OPEC. in other
Well,
countries.
yeah, but if it's already drilled, why are we exporting it instead of just keeping it? I mean, we've already drilled the oil, which
because
that's
it's more
the
advantageous
cost.
for us to sell that oil that costs more to other countries instead of using it at the pump when we could just import oil that costs less.
Okay, then that's still driving up gas prices.
No,
is it
it's
not?
actually reducing them.
So you're saying by exporting the oil we already have, it's decreasing gas prices?
Yeah, we've always predominantly relied on imports for the majority of the oil that we use at the pump, and like exporting our domestic production, because the domestic production of oil costs more to produce because of particular EPA regulations that we have here in America that other countries globally don't have, and that's the truth.
Okay, so then why does Biden still keep half of his oil if it will drive down gas prices to sell it?
For like, what do you mean? For like reserves?
For like,
and there's also probably like he doesn't want to like flood the supply. There's like particular like micro indicators that would like probably like contest that. Like I'm honestly gonna say that like the decision of like what we do with the oil that we produce here at home in America, and like how much we predominantly rely on imports and what we export. Probably isn't ultimately up to the hand of politicians, but it's probably like greatly influenced by like private companies as well as like economists, right? Because ultimately, like the distribution of like exports and imports is going to be like optimized for the American consumer to have the lowest price at the pump.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
So why are you voting for Trump over Harris?
I'm voting. I don't think either candidate are great, if I'm being honest. But I feel like out of the two, a lot of the big thing is if we look at like how good she did at her job, like when she was vice president. I mean, her number one job was to keep the southern border, and yet we had way more illegal
So that's
immigrants from the southern
actually
border.
not true. So one of her jobs was particularly like diplomacy with southern Latin American countries, and so far as resolving like economic crises in southern Latin American countries that would cause migration to the southern border. And then she killed it. She decreased she decreased the amount of migration from like Guatemala by 50%. But ultimately speaking, do you think that we currently have a crisis at the southern border today?
I do think we have I mean, maybe not today, like July 2024, but throughout her entire like stay.
Yeah, so we don't have a
I do
crisis
think-
today because the Biden-Harris administration passed an executive order that decreased crossings across the southern border by 55%.
Wait,
Thank you so
so
much for the money on Heidi. And you should blame the crisis on Trump. You want to know why?
You were talking about this earlier in your conversation. I can't remember why, but
I mean, I'll tell you why. It's because Trump told you to. So, like, we had legislation on the floor of the House 2.5 years after Biden assumed presidency to resolve the border crisis. All right. It was called the Secure the Border Act, and it was bipartisanly supported. Trump turns around, calls Republicans in Congress, tells them to vote against the bill because he doesn't want to give a win to the Democrats, turns around at one of his rallies, and just tells them to blame it on him if the border bill fails. That's the fact.
So wait, I want to go back to when you said when you were saying we decreased 50% from Guatemala, you kind of pivoted from that quickly. I couldn't really address that. You pivoted too fast. But
I mean,
if we
we're
really,
the main point there, like, was just like speaking upon. Well, okay, let's just assume that what I'm saying is wrong, which it's not, and that
No,
Harris's
I
whole
believe you.
thing was, the southern border. All right, it was diplomacy with southern Latin American countries to decrease migration because of economic disparities, but that's a whole different thing. So, particularly, what we're going to be referencing here is how they did. After Biden's executive order, crossings fell 55%. We have lower crossings now than we had at the end of Trump's term at the same point. Additionally speaking here, Trump thwarted 2 border bills passed through Congress and told everyone to blame it on him.
Okay, so at the end of Trump's presidency, we were going through a pandemic, and Latin American countries were not handling that well. So, of course, more people would try to come into America because we were handling the pandemic well. Also,
And you just explain how the crisis at the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration isn't the Biden-Harris's fault. Thanks.
I mean,
Wow.
if we look at
Wow, you're so
2023,
close.
if we
You're
look
so
at
fucking
if we
close.
look at 2022 and 2023, I mean, I'm not looking at 2021, but the main peak of the southern border crisis wasn't not in 2023. It was, and the pandemic had already been over by then for the most part. I mean, there were some slight
Not
restrictions.
the economic resolutions of said pandemic. The reason people are migrating wasn't because the people around them were getting sick. The reason people are migrating is because of economic disparities. Like we have a tribe, water well drives up, tribe moves. We have a tribe, buffalo supply decreases, tribe moves. So when we have a country and there's incredible economic disparities and individuals could achieve a much higher quality of life by seeking asylum in our country, we're going to expect there to be higher numbers. Right, but there is no border crisis here. And once again, I don't understand why you keep drawing out this conversation and not engaging in good faith conversation with me when it's the case that Trump thwarted 2 border bills for being passed through the House and the Senate. You should blame it on him like he told you to.
So I should blame it on Trump because
he told you to.
Because Vice President Harris was letting more people into the country.
No, they
and
tried
she
to
was doing
pass
nothing.
legislation. They tried to pass legislation. They did. Trump thwarted it. He told the Republicans to vote against it. He told you to blame it on him. Okay. Hey, what's up, the one and only? You said that I was paid by the DNC. Why do you... Okay, weird.
Yeah.
Okay, Parker just crashed out. No words, just a moan. Okay, bye, Parker. Whoa. Hey, so you think I'm paid by the DNC?
Yes, I believe you are.
Okay, why so?
Well, because every day you're like a tape recorder. You repeat yourself just like Parker does and Harry does.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Hey, before I engage in this conversation with you, Parker just didn't know what to say and then moaned in his... Okay.
Bring Parker up here. You kicked him, didn't you?
Because he did stop talking, then moaned at me.
No, it's because you started talking to me, and then I don't know.
He moaned at me. Why would I want to keep the moaner on the live?
Well, bring him back up here because he was.
He moaned.
Well, maybe he wasn't feeling good. I don't know why he moaned.
It was a very sexual moan. Yo, Shaylee, thank you for the $10 on Venmo from the DNC. I appreciate you from the love. Thank you for the $10 on Venmo from the pallet management and the DNC. Thank you so much. Yeah, hey man, I'm not paid by the DNC. I mean, you're saying that I am because I repeat the same shit. No, I don't repeat the same shit you guys do. It's kind of embarrassing.
No, you literally saying the same scripture every single day. That's why you don't even have it in front of your face because you memorize it. You said it so many times that you can just spit it off here. And you know what? I'll give you a
WDNCW Shelley in the comment section.
You know what?
Let's just assume that I had a script.
Go down here for me to test you and see how good that you say you're not paid by the DNC. Tell me every single reason why I should not vote for Trump. Now, let's hear it. Let's hear the same old that you say every single day. This is your live. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and tell you why you shouldn't vote for Trump. I want to get that out of the way. I love going through my long list. You said every single reason. Let's go ahead and cook. So particularly, first of all, you shouldn't be voting for Trump and when it comes in the context of policy, because the only influential policy that he got passed was the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which essentially sent 83% of those tax cuts to the top 1%. And it footed a bill of $1.9 trillion on the American taxpayer and only led to an average annual GDP increase of 0.02%, which served as a detriment to the middle class. He also wants to replace the federal income tax with tariffs, which are inflationary, which also serve as a detriment to the middle class. He also elected 3 Supreme Court justices specifically to overturn Roe v. Wade, which destroyed women's access to healthcare, which destroyed women's access to their basic bodily rights, such as autonomy and integrity, all for the reason that some misogynistic man wants to dibble-dabble within the rights of women. It also destroyed the family unit as it shifted the family focus from 2 planning adults that desire to have children or are financially well off to forcing young 18, 19-year-old boys and girls that engage in intercourse into being a family because the state won't allow the woman to access health care, right? Additionally speaking here, he's a rapist, he's a misogynist, he's a fraud, he's a liar, he's a felon, he's an election denier that inspired to overthrow our government in 2020 by sending fake electorates to states to cast fake votes in the Electoral College. He tried to get his VP not to certify the results of the 2020 election, with his VP as well as 34 other cabinet members then revolting on him specifically because of that. Why should we support someone that caused an insurrection? Why should we support someone that doesn't support liberalism, the peaceful passage of power? Why should we support someone that doesn't support us, right? I mean, there's so many good reasons here, but ultimately speaking, I'm not going to be voting for a rapist, and neither should you. I'm going to take the prosecutor over the prosecuted. I'm going to take the person that wants to debate Trump, right, anywhere, anytime, any place, over the guy that just told his campaign to back out, right? And that's the facts. I'm going to take the 59-year-old empowered, intelligent woman over the 78-year-old white man crook. But anyways, you think I'm paid by the DNC? Is that just because I'm smart, good at what I do, good at showing how weak the RNC voter base truly is?
Okay, so now it's my turn. So every single thing that you just said, you say every single day to every person who comes up on your life. I know, I get it. You do this for a living. But the point is that the reason why Republicans and MAGA thinks that you're paid by DNC is because
okay, Ann.
Who else? Why would they not pay you? You're Gen Z, and you go after the young.
Tara, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo from the DNC. I appreciate you for the love. And Alex, thank you for the $5 on Venmo from the DNC. And Sophia, thank you for the $5 again on Venmo from the DNC. I appreciate you guys. And Stephanie, thank you so much for the $12 on Venmo from the DNC. I appreciate all of y'all. Thank you so much.
And this is what
sorry
you
for
right. So this is
Leah, thank you for the $2 on Venmo from the DNC. Sorry.
Whenever I start to bring facts, you interrupt me and saying, "Oh, the DNC did pay me $1. The DNC paid me $5. Thank you, Jasmine, for sending me $20."
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Parker, thank you for the $5. Thank you guys so much. And Ella, thank you so much for these $7.55 on Venmo. I really appreciate you guys. Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal in the bio. Venmo, PayPal in the bio. Venmo, PayPal in the bio. Sorry.
So I understand that you're boasting about, because look, somebody send you a rose. Andrew send you 3 or 4 roses.
Andrew, thank you for the 6 roses. MK, thank you for the 1 rose. Jose, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo from the DNC. Let's get some massive W. Jose's in that chat for the $15 on the DNC. Thank you so much for the love. Yo, Kevin, shut up, buddy. Kevin with the $50 on Venmo from the DNC saying, keep up the good work. Kevin, thank you so much for the $50. Thank you so much. Tammy, thank you for the $5 on Venmo from the DNC. Let's go. Thank you so much. Renee, thank you for the $5 on PayPal. Linda, thank you for the $20 on PayPal from the DNC. Let's go, Linda. Thank you so much. Denard, thank you for the $10 on PayPal from the DNC. W. Kevins, W. Lindas, W. Denard. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen, guys. Thank you so much. Let's go. Let's get a W DNC in the comment section down below. Continue.
You didn't even thank the person for the cowboy hat.
Kevin, thank you so much for the $20. Shut up, buddy. Kevin, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo for the good work. W. Kevin, thank you so much for the love. Tammy with the $10 on from the DNC. Thank you, Tammy. Christine, thank you for the $2. W. Kevin, W. Tammy. Sin, thank you for the little heart. Kai W, thank you so much for the money gun. Kevin with the $15 on Venmo. Oh my God, thank you, Kevin. Jillian with the $10 on Venmo from the DNC. Thank you so much for the love, Jillian. Let's go, Maskin with a little crown. Dominic with a money gun. Thank you so much. Tara with the $10 on Venmo from the DNC. Thank you so much. Yo, Susanna, shut up, buddy.
Wow.
Kevin with another $50 and Heidi with the $30. Holy shit, chat. I want to get at least 100 W Kevins and Heidis. Kevin, thank you so much for the $50 and Heidi with the $30, bro. Holy shit, y'all are popping off right now. Jesus Christ. Holy shit, the DNC is paying me good today. Shut the fuck up. Chuck, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo. Thank you so much, India. Chuck with the $15 on Venmo from the real DNC. I appreciate you for the love there. Dude, holy yap from this guy down here. He just won't stop interrupting. Gerard, thank you for the epic GG. Yeah, this guy down here just won't stop talking. He won't stop interrupting. He won't stop saying shit. Can you stop interrupting me and actually let me speak?
Look, in the last 3 people,
Drew, thank you for the money, guy.
Nobody's sending you that much money.
Yo, so be quiet. Yo! WO with the $25 on PayPal from the real DNC. Thank you so much for the that's from Woolsey. Thank you for the $25 on PayPal. Thank you so much from the DNC. That's crazy. Thank you.
Oh boy.
Hey, Andy, I appreciate you for the gift.
He's a little boy. All right, now you ready to debate, or you just want to sit there and both?
Colin, thank you for the $2 on Venmo from the DNC.
Oh my gosh, $2.
Yo, holy shit, Michelle! Oh my God! Michelle with the $100 on Venmo from the DNC. Are you fucking joking? Michelle said cha-ching. Michelle said this is the DNC. Cha-ching. Holy fuck. Michelle. That is out of this world. Thank you so much for the love. That is
Light up the trap,
crazy.
people.
Thank you so much for the love, Michelle. That is so kind of you. And Gerard with a meteor shower. Thank you so much, Gerard. Please, massive W Michelle's. That is incredible. And Thomas with the $10 on Venmo. I want to see W Michelle's going in that comment section for the next couple of minutes. And Thomas, thank you so much for the $10. Y'all are still going, bro. This is incredible. Christine, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo from the DNC. Bro, they come up here and they hate, and then this happens. You know what, the one and only? You've been really annoying this whole time. You've been doing nothing but speaking. You've been doing nothing but speaking to people. You haven't been letting me speak. Can you just shut up for 1 second to let me speak?
I am so skippity toilet Riz. Now,
Heidi, thank you for the money gun.
are you ready for debating now? Because you done said your politics about Trump. Now let me give you my piece about Harris. Because
Carla with the $25 on Venmo from the DNC. W. Carla's in the chat for the $25 on Venmo from the DNC. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you,
All
Carla.
right, we'll start with Harris. So, do you know who Kevin Cooper is? Because you're voting for her. You didn't know who Kevin Cooper is.
Angela with the $50 on Venmo from the DNC. Bro, y'all are, what the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all are going insane. Angela, thank you so much for the $20, for the $50 on Venmo from the DNC. Y'all are going so insane. And Heidi, thank you for the money gun. Let's get hella W Angelas in that chat. Thank you so much, Angela. Do I know who Anderson Cooper is? Yes,
No,
I know
I
who
said
Anderson
Kevin.
Cooper.
Kevin Cooper.
No, who's Kevin Cooper?
All right, so
Yo, Robert, thank you for the $15 on PayPal from the DNC, man. Thank you, Robert. What's that? Who's Kevin Cooper?
Yeah, well, let him take a breath because this boy hasn't took a breath yet. You got your
Sorry,
breath?
I'm just getting my DNC paycheck, apparently.
All right, well, that's fine. All right, wait a minute. Take a hit off your vape because I saw you vaping the other day. Go ahead.
I don't do any illegal substances.
I didn't say you did. See, now you just told on yourself because vaping.
If I were to do that, that would particularly be an illegal substance.
What?
I'm
They have
19.
nicotine vape, dude. You
Okay,
know
okay, that rhetoric is gonna get me banned. Abby, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Abby. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our next guest here. By the way, guys, Parker's gonna go ahead and go live here in a couple minutes. And Lisa, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo from the DNC. Thank you so much, Lisa. It means the world. Let's get some massive W Lisas in the comment section. And Michelle, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo from the DNC. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have been going crazy. Greg, thank you for the money gun as well. Y'all have just been going. Elizabeth with the $100 on PayPal. Yo! Oh my God, Elizabeth. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the $100. That is insane, bro. Holy shit. Thank you so much for the love, Elizabeth. That is just incredible, chat. Please show Elizabeth some love. Holy shit. Thank you so much for the love, Elizabeth. Massive W Elizabeths all day, every day. Thank you so much for the love. That is just out of this world. And Kevin, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo. Thank you, Kevin. Dude, massive W Elizabeths. I want to see W Elizabeths in the chat all day, every day. That's Queen Elizabeth III right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We're gonna go to move on to our next guest. Thank you so much. That is so kind, guys. That is so kind. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone. We're gonna go and get our next guest up in here at this point. If you're voting for Trump, let me see in the chat. We're probably gonna go ahead and do one or two more debates before we do end for the day, because particularly Parker's gonna go ahead and hop on. If you're MAGA, just let me know in that chat. Schemey, thank you for the anarts. We're gonna go to get our next guest up in here, y'all. So everyone, just do give us a minute. All right. Hey, what's up, Caitlin? How old are you?
15.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you for being honest. You got to be at least 18 to be on TikTok Live. I do appreciate you for coming up. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Let's go to get DVB up in here, y'all. Make sure we are in that queue that we are voting for Trump, guys.
Hey, dude. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you have a lot of background noise, so unfortunately I'm going to move on, but I do appreciate you for coming up. Guys, do double tap away on that phone screen. Hey, what's up? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 20.
Awesome. Are you voting for Trump?
Damn right.
All right. Why so? Okay, well, he went on pause. I can't hear you when you're on pause, so I'm going to move on to our next guest here, y'all. Everyone just do give us a minute. I don't know what's going on. Everyone just kind of be patient. Bear with us here. Hey, what's up? How old are you?
18.
Awesome. Are you voting for Trump, though?
Yep.
Awesome. Why so?
Because back when he was in office, everything was cheaper. There wasn't near as much protest. The war wasn't as bad. You weren't hearing about it or anything like that.
Okay, let's start off with things being cheaper. So how particularly did the Biden administration make things cost more? And Jennifer, thank you so much for the $25 on PayPal. That's so kind of you. Let's get some W Jennifers in the chat for the $25. That's so kind of you. Thank you. W Jennifers.
What did you say?
Yeah, you said things were cheaper under Trump. How did Trump make things cheaper, or on the inverse, how did Biden make things more expensive?
When Trump was in office, I saw gas at $2 an hour. I meant $2 a gallon. My bad. And
well, how did the Biden-Harris administration cause gas to cost more?
I don't know, but when he got in, it jumped straight up.
Yeah, but that's called a correlation causation fallacy. Just because something happens in the nation when someone's sitting in the Oval Office didn't mean they caused it. Would you disagree?
No.
So you don't disagree there. So this means that you have to demonstrate to me how he caused it. Because if you don't, I could use your same logic to say Trump caused the 14.8% record high unemployment rate at the end of his term.
Yeah, you're right about that. But next point, the protests, you weren't hearing about near as many wars. He was keeping everything settled. He was friends with wherever the dude is.
Hey, Josh.
Yo, what's up?
I mean, yeah, feel free to hang out here. I know that we're talking about some economic stuff, but I'd love to co-host with you. So what else are you speaking on here?
The protests, like the BLM, that wasn't a thing when Trump was in office, or all the protests happening now.
Yes, it was.
That wasn't near as bad.
Okay, so how did the Biden-Harris?
I don't know, but it wasn't as bad when Donald Trump was in.
The protests of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
That was during Trump's presidency.
No, not that one. The other one.
What particular protests?
All right, I'm gonna make this clear. I'm not voting for Trump. I said I'm voting for Brent Peterson.
Okay, buddy. We're okay. Yeah, throw your vote away. Very happy about that. Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Doing all right. I'd love to see. Yeah, I mean, I think I saw you on someone else's live, and then I saw your message in that other stream saying that you're like pretty informed about economics. I wish I had you earlier when I was debating this guy that works for the IRS. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and load in our next guest at this point, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, feel free to hang out and hop in whenever you want. We're gonna go and get our next guest, Davis, up in here, y'all. If you're a MAGA, just make sure to let me know in that chat, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Davis? How old are you?
Hey, Dean. I'm 18. I'm a big fan.
18, awesome. Are you voting for Trump?
How old are you?
I'm 19. Are you voting for Trump?
Yeah, of course.
Why?
I don't know. Just when Trump was in office, everything was more peaceful. Like literally everything. I mean, ask Joe Biden how to destroy a nation. You just look at his presidency, right?
So what policy or executive order did they influence to get passed that destroyed the nation?
Did who influence? You don't be ambiguous.
What's that?
You said they?
Yeah, the Biden-Harris administration.
Oh, I was talking about just Biden. I don't think Kamala did anything.
Oh, just their administration in general. What executive order or policy did they influence to get passed that, I guess, destroyed the nation? Also, it's incredible that you'd say that things were peaceful. I mean, he literally tried to destroy the nation when he caused an insurrection upon our capital.
How did he try to destroy the nation?
Yeah, because he attempted to overthrow the government through a coup. How? Yeah, by sending fake electors to states to cast fake electoral votes inside of the Electoral College. He tried to get his VP not to certify the results of the election and denied it with no grounds, caused an insurrection upon our capital. He literally tried to overthrow our government.
What is an insurrection?
What is an insurrection? Yeah, I mean, I know that there actually is in the academia very strict guidelines for defining it. So I want to get you the formal definition. I'll look it up.
Okay.
Josh, if you know it off the top of your head, feel free to hop in. But
who's Josh?
A friend. Yeah, so it looks like an insurrection
is a friend?
Yeah, they're co-hosting with me. Like we're debating.
What is Josh's pronouns?
Josh, your pronouns are they, them, correct?
Yeah, that's fine, but I don't care too much.
Okay, well, I mean, I still think
she's
it's good
just a friend?
They said their pronouns are they, them.
She said she doesn't care that much.
Okay, well, you were going to like respect the pronouns of Josh while you're on my live?
No, because, well, I can if Josh cares, but she said she doesn't care that much.
What? just move on. I don't care too much.
Yeah, see?
Oh, you're calling me sheer, though. I'd appreciate you don't do that.
Oh, those are just my favorite pronouns.
Okay, I guess. It's just weird to harp down on them, I think.
Yeah, no worries.
No, I think I'll go ahead and let, yeah, you're fucking
do you have
weird.
Do you have the definition?
How many continents are there?
7.
Name them.
Australia, Antarctica, North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia. Dean, what's 8 times 12? What's 8 times 12?
96? No. Yeah. Actually, yeah. 96.
12 times 11.
131.
Oh, Dean, if you multiply an even number by something, it's going to be even. This is basic math. You can't even do that right. So I don't know why I would trust you.
Sorry, 12 times 11. Yeah, what?
Did you just say an even number by an even number? And you said 12.
Also, that's an odd number. And
12 times 11, though.
132.
You multiply an even number by anything, you get an even number, Dean. And you
yeah, it's 132. I said 131 and instead of 132. Womp womp.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Bro, dude, what?
One number off.
I was like one number off with like 3 seconds. Okay, and this is supposed to do what?
Dean, well, you were trying to discredit me by asking me how many continents there are. I asked you like a 4th grade multiplication question.
Yeah, you asked me too. I answered them both in like sub 3 seconds, and then I was off by one number on the second
like
one.
5 seconds, and you still answered it wrong.
I was off by one
You
number.
tried your best. That's okay.
Bro, you asked me what 12 times 11 was, and then I said 131, and then corrected myself to 132 5 seconds later.
Yeah, that's not normal.
Okay,
Most people can answer that question very fast, Dean.
Okay, right. Okay, well, I mean, let's go ahead and have some fun. So you're actually particularly referring to economics inflation. Just to clarify, what is inflation?
Are bloated.
What is inflation?
It's a sustained increase in prices.
Okay, yeah, and particularly when we're referencing inflation, right? I actually want to talk about a few things economics. So what is market equilibrium?
And what's price market? It's when quantity demanded equals quantity supplied.
Right, which is found at what point?
When price equals Dean, what is price elasticity of demand? What's the formula?
Oh, I don't know. I forgot.
Oh my God, Dean. So I don't understand how you're going to try and like discredit me with these basic questions, but when I asked you a question on the same topic at the same level,
because
it's a multiplication question.
Because you're asking me about price elasticity of demand.
You're asking me freshman economics questions. I can answer them. I asked you a freshman economics question. You couldn't answer it. So you have to stop doing that because you look stupid.
Well, the particular reason why I couldn't answer your question is because I think that there's going to be a difference between like what market equilibrium is and then like say price elasticity of demand. And I took like principles like economics, micro as well as macro, in my freshman year. I'm a philosophy major, and I just forgot.
You would have learned that.
Yeah, I probably did, but I just forgot.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to ask another question?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so you particularly, you asked me what an insurrection was earlier.
Even your mods are saying I have a point. You're really looking. Sorry, continue.
What mod said that you have a point?
Let me find her 1 sec. I'm scrolling up. Sorry, the chat goes fast because you're just so popular.
Natasha, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Natasha. I appreciate you.
It was Nat. Nat literally just said, "Sorry, Dean, he has a point." Nat, I think you're getting fired.
Yeah, Nat, you're cooked, bro. You're cooked.
How dare you say
cooked.
Dean lost a point?
Yeah, you're cooked, Nat. You're out of here. But Natasha, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo.
I'm saying that's BS. I mean, Nat literally said that. I'll screenshot it right now.
That's pretty rough.
Anyway, go on, Dean.
Nat's fired.
Tell me about the Lorenz curve.
I don't know. I'm not an economics student.
That would be a freshman economics.
Yeah, and I took them and I moved on because I'm not an economics major. I'm a philosophy major.
You just finished your freshman year.
No, I just finished my sophomore year and I'm majoring in philosophy.
Oh, sorry. But you're 9. Oh, I guess you must have a late birthday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm majoring in philosophy.
What are you learning in philosophy right now?
I mean, I'm like, it's pretty general. I have an emphasis on ethics. It's pretty fun.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What philosophical framework do you hold to?
Like for like my
Just in
minority
general.
theory?
Just in general.
Well, like what philosophical framework? Like, it's a vague question. Like, what do you mean by that?
If I was to ask you a moral question right now.
Like, are you talking about like my normative theory of ethics?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I hold to like threshold deontics, like Rossian pluralism. And Jennifer, thank you for the $25 on PayPal. I really appreciate you for the love, Jennifer. Let's get some Jennifers in that comment section. Thank you so much for the $25 on PayPal. That's so incredibly kind of you. Thank you for the love.
You said Rossian pluralism?
Yeah.
That's William Ross's, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you can tell me when you developed that then, right?
1970s.
No.
1973 to be precise.
No.
Yes.
He was dead in 1973, Dean.
Rossian pluralism was either made or popularized in 1970.
William David Ross died at least, like the latest he died was like 1970.
Yeah, and I think it's not William David Ross.
Yeah, he developed Rossian pluralism.
Adrian, I appreciate you. It's particularly the prima facie duties built upon Rossian pluralism. Adrian, thank you for the $5.
Okay. Do you know what the book? Do you know what his work that everything is based on?
Wait, 1 second. What are the prima facie duties?
I don't major in philosophy, but I know this stuff.
Oh wait. So what? I have a question. What is threshold deontology?
I just said I don't major in philosophy, Dean.
Okay. Wait. So you don't know what threshold deontology? What is deontology?
Dean.
Wait. So I mean, I think that you're just pulled shit out of your ass. So you're telling me
What
that
do you
know
mean?
that you're telling me that
I know
you know
who
the
William
year.
David Ross is.
Wait. Yeah. William David Ross did not conceive of like Rossian pluralism as
Yes,
well
he
as
did, in the right and the good.
1 second. Rossian pluralism alongside like the prima facie duties.
What?
Yeah. Like Josh, do you know who made like the prima facie duties?
I'm not sure if there's any prior deontic pluralism views prior to W.D. Ross. I know that the right and the good did popularize that view, and that was published in 1930.
Yeah, that's
Yo,
correct.
Elizabeth, thank you for the $100 on PayPal. I appreciate you for the love. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for the $100 on PayPal. That's fucking insane. Thank you so much. Let's get some Elizabeths for the $100 on PayPal. I really appreciate you for the love, man. Thank you so much.
You've gone like a while without saying particularly. It's pretty impressive. I just realized that.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, you said that would you agree with me when I say that like Trump caused an insurrection upon our capital?
No. I thought you were getting that definition from me. Why'd you pivot?
Yeah, an organized and usually violent act of revolt or rebellion against an established government or governing authority of a nation. Yeah, and particularly the reason why I'd say that Trump caused an insurrection is because he literally sent fake electorates to two states to cast fake votes into the electoral college. He told his VP not to certify the results of the election, right? And then, like particularly speaking, like Mike Pence then pulled away from Trump alongside 34 other cabinet members because he went on record and said that Trump wanted them to put him above the U.S. Constitution. He tried to convince tens of millions of American voters to have virtues of distrust for civil and electoral processes.
Whenever you're done. You're done? All right, so I'm going to go through this little by little. First of all, we're just going to clear this up. There's actually no evidence that Trump was the one who sent those fake electorates. It could have when Putin was in office, the KGB wasn't, when Boris Berezovsky was assassinated or whatever, poisoned, it wasn't actually Putin. It was Putin fanatics who took it upon themselves to assassinate his political rivals. And it's probably a similar situation with Trump, but there's no evidence that Trump actually did it. Anyway, so now that that's cleared up, the fake electorate argument is completely wrong. Do you consider that to mean that Trump is a threat to democracy?
Of course. I mean, can I respond to like your first claims about him not sending
Yeah, go ahead.
electorates? Yeah, testify to it in court. Would you like the docs?
What?
He testified to it. Like, you understand that, like, him alongside, like, Rudy Giuliani are seeking immunity for sending fake electorates to states, right?
Yeah, show me the documents.
You don't know this? Yeah, sure. So, I mean, like, we could, like, reference, NBC News. Just look up what to know about Trump's fake electoral scheme in 2020 election. Scroll down to the Trump's team alleged scheme, right? Then they'll reference some of the fake certificates. It's like, I'm really surprised he didn't know that.
Hang on, I'm looking.
His lawyers already pled guilty.
Yeah, Trump didn't plead guilty to it.
Yes, his lawyers did. That's crazy, huh?
a lawyer's plea is not the same as the client's plea. Did you know that?
Yeah, so you have Trump, his lawyers, his team. They pled guilty for attempting to overthrow our democracy by sending fake electors to states. And yes, the lawyers represent him. Right? They're seeking immunity for like Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and a couple other Republicans.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at this. Do you want to bring someone, or you're gonna end the live, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm gonna look at this. I have one more question though. I'm gonna come back on another day once I've gone through this. But I have one more question before I go.
Take it away.
You ready?
Yes.
It's gonna be a hard one. 11 times 11.
Davis, I'm not gonna answer your silly math questions anymore. It's 121.
Oh, there you go. Okay, you go.
No,
All right.
I just think
That's
it's like
impressive,
really
dude.
like weird.
I would review your times tables. I'll be back.
Oh wait, hey, just before you leave, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like you've
You can
kind of been a
ask
shitter. Yeah,
A
so I mean,
shitter?
so you said that you particularly like think that Biden is.
Stop
sorry, that
saying
Trump's-
particularly. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay,
Just
and
pick
then
that up from obsessing over how Parker talks.
I mean, I don't
Okay?
think I
Even
picked this up from how Parker talks. I mean,
even
I think
Parker
that, hey
admitted
Joey, thank
that
you for the $5 on Venmo.
Even
Thank you for the
Parker
love.
admitted that you don't debate with actual, integrity. You're just like, you spam the word particularly, you spam the word insofar as, just because you've heard him say it, you've picked up on what he's saying.
No,
and
the
you
fuck he
sound-
didn't.
you-
This is
you
actual
talk-
misinformation.
You talk like you're bloated.
Wait, no,
speaking
you're
like
actually
lying.
you're actually like lying right now. Are you like crying?
Crying?
Yeah,
What?
you're like crying on live,
I
like
don't-
whining like a baby, saying
I
that
don't
Parker
think I'm
admitted I
crying.
don't debate with
Oh
integrity.
yeah, no. So Parker said that. I believe what he said was someone said Dean doesn't act, or someone was criticizing how you act, and Parker goes, I don't know if you were watching, but Parker goes, he said Dean acts, yeah, he acts okay, I guess. So even your like quote
Wait,
unquote
I mean
best
Parker's
friend-
actually watching the live right now, and Parker just
Yeah, and
texted
Parker
me saying
did
that he
say
hasn't
that.
seen that. No, Parker just texted me saying that he didn't say that.
No, Parker 100%
Isn't that like hilariously like funny that you're gonna come up onto my live and just like
Parker
lie
100%
about
said
something that Parker said? I bet you didn't expect him to be watching and then to text me.
No, I would expect him to be watching actually.
Yeah, you're obviously jealous of me.
He's very
like, can we get some crybaby? Can we get some like? Can we get some like bottles in the chat for the crybaby?
But I would expect him to be watching, and he did say that. I'm not gonna, let either of you guys. I mean, just saying that he didn't say that. Again, honestly.
Hey, how many viewers?
That's not even. That's not even integral to my
Hey,
point.
Davis, how many viewers do I have right now?
5,200.
How many viewers does Parker have when he typically goes live?
Well, he was banned because he uses slurs so much. Like he was shadow banned.
What slurs does Parker use?
Like the F word, the S word.
Like the F word is in fuck.
Okay, so you're probably gonna get shadow banned too. But yes,
Oh,
that's
so
what I'm talking
what do you
about.
think a slur is?
A word that's generally not accepted by society.
A word that okay, and what would you say the difference between a slur and a curse word is?
I don't think there is one.
Okay, so you say that like a curse word is going to be equivalent to that of a slur.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you say that hell is a curse word?
I think I wouldn't even think that's a curse. I think maybe in some cultures, obviously, the definition of a curse word is subjective. If you know.
Okay, so I mean, like, would you uphold the idea that the word hell is a curse word?
No.
Okay. Well, real quick, how would we differentiate between like someone like white saying the N word and like me saying fuck? How do we differentiate between those two like words?
Well, they're two different words.
Yeah, I know, but like what I'm saying is, I think that language is inherently subjective.
No, you don't
However-
have to categorize all of. You don't have to
one
categorize them
second.
into separate categories.
However, like the reasonability of our use of language is going to be based upon its social utility. And like when we can introduce categories that would derive like a better social utility insofar as me being able to effectively communicate like a proposition to you, right? That is going to be what we should do. And I think it is the case that like making a categorical distinction between like what I'd consider slurs to be like the F slur, the N word, etc., and like general curse words like fuck, shit, or piss.
Okay,
like,
so you're
of
gonna
course that's
lose
just gonna
viewers
like
next
be
time
like
you
very
stream.
like socially.
You're not
like,
going to have as many
utilitarian.
viewers next time you stream it, and you're going to wonder why. And it's going to be because you're using so many slurs right now. That's all I'm going
Wait,
to say.
like when you say that Parker's used a slur, what do you think that communicates to the audience?
I don't, honestly, I think a lot of the people watching this stream are old enough. You have to be very young to not be able to hear many slurs. Obviously, there's some of greater intensity, like the N word and the other F word that we're
Yeah,
talking
but when
about.
you say that Parker's used a slur, do you think that that communicates a message to the audience that like he used like a slur such as like the F slur, right? A derogatory term
Well, which one?
towards like the LGBTQ plus
FU or
community.
FA?
Like the derogatory term used to reference members of the LGBTQ.
Well, there's a derogatory. Oh,
like the
towards
N-word.
the N word is used for black people, Dean.
I mean, I was
misunderstanding.
referencing the F slur, a derogatory term that has been used to reference members of the LGBTQ plus community, or the N word, right? And then would you say that when you say that Parker's used a slur, that it will communicate the message that he's used words such as these, or like to say words such as like fuck or shit?
It could be neither. That's why you have to be.
I mean, that's
unambiguous.
obviously disingenuous of you when I'm particularly.
What is that?
asking you-
How is that disingenuous? And
Yeah,
stop saying particularly.
the reason that that's disingenuous is because I asked you the question, what motive does it communicate to the audience, right? And it's not. It could be either, right? When you say that Parker used slurs, it's obviously going to communicate the message that he used like the N word or the F slur, not a curse word. Because the way that we genuinely understand what a slur is in society pertains to things like the N word or the F slur, and not to like the word fuck, right? Because we make a categorical distinction in society with how we use language between curse words and slurs.
Yeah, just to clear it up, the distinction is that slurs are derogatory and insulting words towards particular groups of people. That's what
Says who?
Sorry?
Says who?
Says the Oxford Languages Dictionary.
And why do you hold to that?
Well, I'm just talking about the way that terms are generally used. I think that dictionaries and definitions are subjective, but I think it would be very hard pressed to find any dictionary, any group of people that uses those terms in the same way that you do. So you're just using terms in a strange way.
I know several people who do. Actually,
There's a lot of hearsay that comes from your side of this
believe it or
debate.
not, the word slur wasn't actually used to refer to the N word. That use has only been prevalent in the past 10, 15 years.
Okay, well, maybe you can find me some organization or some dictionary that agrees with your term usage, but until then, I would just say you're using the terms.
So what I'm just saying is, I don't know why.
And it seems likely that you're using the terms in a strange way, knowing that they incite some sort of reaction. So it'd probably just be appreciated if you didn't do that.
Josh.
Madeline, thank you for the $30 on Venmo from the DNC. I really appreciate you for the love, Madeline. Let's get some W Madelines in that chat, and thank you so much for the $30. And James, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you, James.
And yeah, guys, I appreciate all the gifts too. I really appreciate the support, and I do it. I come on here to make a.
Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, I said all I had to say. I think he's making these terms
me for no reason.
used in a certain way, knowing that it incites some sort of reaction for the purpose of sending that reaction. That's why he said like the F word or whatever and referenced it as a slur. I think he knew that there was some reaction that is incited using those terms in that certain way. But I guess that's all.
We're going to move on to our next guest here, y'all. If you're voting for Trump, make sure to hop in that queue. We're just going to be going until ultimately Parker hops on. I think he is out of the house right now, but he should be home soon, y'all. We're going to move on to our next guest here, y'all. We're going to get Aiden up in the box, y'all. So everyone just give me a minute. Oh, I'm so hungry. I can't wait to eat. Dude. All right, guys, if you're MAGA, just let me know in the chat while we get our next guest up in here. All right, everyone just give us a minute, guys. Everyone just give us a minute. Let's try to get up to 600,000 likes. Yeah, it was just like a harmful insinuation. We're going to move on to our next guest here, guys. Everyone just give us a minute. We're still looking to get someone to load up into the live. What's up, Nathan? How old are you?
I'm 17, but I'll be 18 by November.
Okay, well, you got to be at least 18 to be in TikTok live. I appreciate you for coming up. We're going to move on to our next guest, Jose, y'all. Everyone just do give us a minute, and also make sure that we're double tapping away on that phone screen. What's up, Jose? How old are you?
27.
27. Are you voting for Trump?
I will be voting for Trump.
Okay, why so?
Because he's trying to decouple us from globalization, well, specifically from China, and he's trying to move us away from globalization. And his foreign policy when it comes to Ukraine and Taiwan are important for me.
I mean, I think that it's really important that we continue to spend money on Ukraine, send them weapons because of the Budapest Memorandum.
I think trying to antagonate one of the largest nuclear stockpile country in the world, aka Russia, is just long term not beneficial.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah, what's up?
Do you think it's important for the purpose of securing foreign agreements in the future that we hold our agreements we have now?
No.
You don't think
Ukraine,
that's important?
Ukraine is not worth anything for Russia or China, in the sense that it's not worth trying to antagonize that relationship even more when we have to pivot to China.
Yeah. So you just hold some view that like if we break all of our foreign agreements, we have now, then that won't-
Did I say all? Did I say Ukraine?
Can I finish a sentence, please?
Don't put words in my mouth then.
Okay, just let me finish. Would you hold some view that if we broke all of our foreign agreements, that wouldn't hurt our ability to have future foreign agreements in any way? Do you hold that
I
view?
say all. Did I say particularly
I'm
Ukraine?
asking you a question. Do you understand
So
what the
if I
question
answer that
is?
question, what did it insinuate?
What? It would depend on what your answer is.
But is that the reality that I'm talking about? Is that the? Am I saying break every treaty possible?
I'm trying to use the questions to show you a very important point. That when we break
Tell
our
me your
foreign
point. Then you just tell me your
agreements-
point then.
Holy shit. Can I finish a sentence, please? That when we break our foreign agreements, it's going to impede our ability to have future foreign agreements, right? And that's something that's harmful. That's all.
So a small question then for you, Josh. Do you think relationships and power projection, like if Canada decided to do its own foreign policy and they decide to break, or if we decide to break our foreign agreements, like invade them or put pressure on them, do you think it matters? Like in the sense that, do you think that just the diplomatic agreements just affect foreign policy, or anything that affects foreign policy or affect foreign relationships?
I didn't really get the question. You need to repeat it.
Okay, let me phrase it this way. If Canada or Mexico do policies that are against U.S. interests, are we willing to break quote unquote treaties or obligations with them to make them follow our foreign policy?
Are we willing to?
Yeah. Would we? Or should we? That's a deeper conversation. I'll say yes, but yeah.
Well, that would obviously be context dependent. I wouldn't make any super generalized statement in that regard. No.
Okay, if China decided to put bases in, I don't know, Mexico and Canada, do you think America would break its treaties and intervene and break, I don't know, attack, even go to war?
I think there would definitely be pressure put there. I'm not sure if there would be an immediate rejection of trade treaties or something like that that's made. No, I don't know if that would occur.
I'm simply saying, I think the concept of treaties being this ultimate factor when it depends on our strategic position. Our strategic position matters more than some diplomatic statement when we have the power projection to get involved in that scenario. I'm saying... Yeah.
I think the point that Dean was just trying to make, and I was just going off of that point, is that there is some importance that comes from taking in accordance with the foreign agreements that we make, such as the Budapest Memorandum that we've been a part of for 30 years now.
And I'm arguing...
If I can finish real quick. And that when we don't go in accordance with those foreign agreements, there's going to be some harm that comes to us, and that's associated with us having harder times making future foreign agreements. And that's the whole point that Dean was making. There isn't some point that's being made that there is no exceptions where you would break a treaty or something like that. It's just in general, we shouldn't do that because doing so hurts our abilities to have future positive foreign agreements.
With who? With the Europeans that we can just dominate?
With countries like Iran or North Korea that we may want to entertain the idea of a denuclearization agreement with in the future. Like if we look at this denuclearization agreement we have with Ukraine stating if they give up their nukes, then we'll provide them funding or
You think Iranians and Koreans care about diplomatic...
about with like the funding or weapons that we provided for Ukraine in turn for them giving up their nukes, then all of a sudden we just don't uphold our end of that contractual agreement, pull out funding, like all of a sudden these other like foreign adversaries, wouldn't this decrease the likelihood that they'd even entertain the idea of walking into the negotiation room with us? Because ultimately speaking, no matter what we negotiate, there's a high potentiality that we'll just walk off of that agreement as well, right? That's why funding Ukraine puts America first. Right, because it particularly succeeds in us having like a higher chance at being able to keep our foreign relations strong and keep windows open with other countries to be able to make these denuclearization agreements. And it's like if you disagree with funding Ukraine, that's fine, but that just means that the Budapest Memorandum shouldn't have been signed in the 90s. I'm not contesting that. But what I am contesting is, well, now that it is signed, we shouldn't dishonor our end of that contractual agreement.
But do you think it's worth antagonizing the nation with the largest stockpile of nuclear weapons and a rising, I'd say relatively rising star economically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. And how is it worth it? What factors?
Right, because I think the antagonization of like Russia won't really like yield any potentiality that they're going to do something bad to us.
Yeah, but do you think they're going to orbit closer to China? And you think having a stronger connection between the Chinese and the Russians, it's good in any strategic point of view, or beneficial for the U.S.?
I mean, so you're saying that this is going to make them orbit closer to China. How do we know, right, just from like some, how do you know just from like some perspective that if we didn't provide you funding to Ukraine, they wouldn't be orbiting closer to China? Then additionally here,
because they're regional, because historically and strategically they are not. There's China and Russia have land issues already, and overwhelmingly the Russians understand they're going to be the junior partner in a Chinese-Russian alliance, and they have their own strategic desires in the Central Asia, in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all the stands.
To what extent will we go to defend Russian expansion? Like, are we supposed to be the ones?
Not Ukraine.
Are we supposed to be the ones bowing the knee, being scared of particular?
So we're supposed to send American troops to die.
Jose. Yeah, so there is no American troops deployed right now. That was a lie. Thank you for lying.
Did I say deployed?
Yeah, you said deploy them to die. So, I mean, at what extent are we going to go to bow the knee to Russia? Aaron, thank you for the $10 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love. And just allow them to, ingress upon, the land of others, like the annex of Crimea in 2014, or, like their current invasion of Ukraine. Like, even going insofar as, dishonoring contractual agreements that we have with Ukraine.
No,
first of all, we're scared if we make an alliance with China.
By deployed, I simply meant we're going to deploy. Is it worth? Ultimately, at what point do you decide that Russia can't take Ukraine? They're obviously losing the conflict, and the only way, and this is only increasing the odds of sending American troops in larger escalation in the region.
Yeah, I don't think that this is increasing the odds of us deploying American troops in the region. I ultimately think allowing them to invade Ukraine and putting more pressure on Europe from Russian expansion is going to be increasing the odds of deploying troops in Eastern Europe.
So, question: do you not think that your Russians are getting more experience doing this Russian?
I think they're getting drained. I think they're getting drained. I think their resources are absolutely getting drained. I think that this is serving as a detriment to the state of Russia. This is serving as a detriment.
So why are they? Why are their GDP increasing? Why is their GDP increasing then?
Wait, would we say that in order to serve for this war to serve as a detriment to Russia, that we'd expect to see a decrease within their GDP? How does
I
the
think
increase
the sanctions,
in the GDP?
I think the economic factors like the sanctions.
How does their increase in the GDP since their invasion of Ukraine, compare to the increase in their GDP prior to their invasion of Ukraine?
They're becoming economically independent from the global markets, but specifically the Western style markets with the de-dollarization. They're increasing ties with Iran, China, and the South, essentially Africa and other states. They're not becoming a priority state. They're becoming.
And also, I think that if anything, what I said was true, and we would expect to see a rise within the Russian GDP just because of the industrial military complex. Of course, they're going to be spending more money, right, on just the production of goods used in the context of war.
But do you but why would you want to antagonize a nation that's not being affected by sanctions or becoming even more is being pushed away from the Western regime? Why? How's that a positive thing for the American empire?
Yeah, just one quick point. We'd expect to see short-term gains in GDP when there's a rise in military-industrial complex.
Yeah, sure, I agree. Yeah, I agree. But are you saying that's the only growth that they're getting?
If you have empirics that state the reasons for the growth rate in Russian GDP,
agricultural, fuels, higher mining rates in Serbia. I don't know. I mean, this goes beyond this specific incident. Russia has been growing for years. They're the 5th largest economy in the world, based on PPP, whatever. But not GDP, raw GDP. But yeah. I'm saying they are a rising star and they're joining with the largest economy in the world, aka China, not according to GDP by PPP. They're the largest economy in the world. Yeah, that's a danger. And the argument Ukraine is this moral, we have to defend Ukraine. One, it's their regional power. If they're around their region, Russia dominates that region. We will never be able to put the amount of pressure to Ukraine as the Russians can. And I don't like the antagonist. No one should like the pushing away of the Russians away to the Western sphere. The Russians want to be European. They do not want to be a Chinese puppet.
Well, I guess I'm curious. Do you think that allowing Russia to take such a large amount of land and civilians to add to their population, out of their potential in GDP, would do an increase or decrease in economic gains?
Oh, it increase it. Yeah.
Sure. So do you think that there should be methods that are taken if you think that the rise in Russian economic power is a danger to limit the amount of land growth they're about to reach by expanding into foreign nations like Ukraine?
Specifically Ukraine, from a moral perspective, I simply think expanding Ukrainian lives for a project that they're ultimately ready to lose, like we do with the Kurdish, I think is not worth it. From a moral perspective, I think it's wrong. And from a simple geopolitical perspective, I think it's just dumb too.
Well, what's the moral perspective? Well, particularly I asked about an economic perspective because that's what you were talking about.
But I'm saying, okay, that's fair.
Well, economically, you agreed that allowing Russia to take Ukraine would benefit their economy, right?
Yes.
And if you have concerns about their economy, it would make more sense to not let them take that land.
No,
correct?
but I want them to go to the Western sphere. That's what I'm specifically saying. And I want them to maintain that to be in the Western side. Or at least be independent and not work in tangent with the Chinese. And I think
why do you think that taking a ally of many Western nations would allow them to get closer and trade with Western nations unless so?
Because before we decided to blow up, what was it? Nord Stream 2 with Americans, they were economically tied to the European sphere more. And now they're not. Now they're tied more to the Chinese one.
Yeah. Well, that could just be a correlation causation. Do you have any sort of empirics or data that suggests that allowing Russia to take Ukraine would have them less so involved economically and more so involved with the West?
Okay. To be fair, that's a separate argument. I don't think we should have ever been involved in Ukraine. And I think we should have done the peace treaty and decided not to do a coup in Ukraine beforehand. But I'm simply saying antagonizing them and furthering deteriorating relationships when at the beginning of the war, the Ukrainians were willing to negotiate, but there was specifically American pressure and UK pressure to tell them to continue the war. Obviously, this conflict is being extended for a much longer period of time, and it's ultimately decoupling Russia further. Well, they've been relatively decoupled from the Western sphere, but I still think that's wrong.
I'm seeing people in the comments say Parker is live, by the way, Dean. So I don't know if you've seen that. But
yeah, we're gonna go ahead and send him over a raid. If you want to wrap up the conversation with Jose here before I do that, feel free.
Oh, that's fine. I don't know if he has anything else to say. If you want to go.
Do you think we should have been involved with Ukraine? That's my question, Josh.
Sorry, what's the question?
Do you think we should have been involved from Ukraine for the very beginning, or you think we should have tried to negotiate with the Russians?
I think obviously diplomatic agreements. I would have to see the specifics of what these particular diplomatic agreements indicated. I haven't looked at that in a long time. But in general, I think diplomatic agreements are better than war. But I think that if war does ensue, we have an obligation as a part of the Budapest Memorandum to engage in helping them in some sort of extent with military operations. Because we have that agreement, and not going in accordance with that agreement lessens our ability to have future agreements and say nuclear arrangements, because it lowers our trust in foreign nations, stuff like that.
Cool. Well, Josh, I appreciate you so much for coming up. I would love to have you on another day. Today's been kind of rough, but I appreciate you for coming up.
Oh, yeah. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to try to start doing my own streams maybe in the next month or so. So if anyone would like to help me out with that, I have links in bio for donations and stuff. Or if anyone would like to join my Discord, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, guys, please follow Josh. They are probably one of the smartest people on this app. I've known them for probably like a couple of years now. And, just regardless of what the topic is, they're the smartest. So, yeah, drop Josh a follow. Anyways, have a good rest of your day.
Appreciate that, man.
Yep, take care. And everyone else, head over to @ParkerGetARealJob on TikTok and spam Dean Raid in the chat. I may join up for a coast, but honestly, I'm really tired and hungry, so I'm going to go eat some food. I may not join up. But yeah, everyone at Parker Get a Real Job. I will see you all over there. Spam Dean Raid in the chat. See you guys at Parker Get a Real Job on TikTok. Bye bye.